Okay, I got the red smoke.
Gun runs north to south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke.
Okay, copy. West of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now.
Come on with it, baby. Give it to me. I need it. You're cleared hot.
Copy, cleared hot.
I swear that I have hit it and made it red before, and it went back to green. Have you ever had that happen?
Yeah, we had it happen. Remember that one time it was doing that during that podcast?
The super
That one time
yeah,
during the-
super
the
descriptive. So I really
podcast.
appreciate you really.
Well, it's like
helping
the
me
only
narrow it
time
down.
it's happened, besides when you did it. So that kind of says something.
There's no trust anymore. You know what I mean? Faith and trust is gone. So I have
Both
paranoia
ways.
when I'm in here by myself. I'm just like, oh God, what did I not turn on?
Too many buttons.
Having said that, I have recorded an episode with the lens covers on before, so it's not a big deal.
It's all right.
Fade to black, stay black. All right, Aaron, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Probably the most important question ever. You ready for this?
Yeah, shoot.
Why do you want to get involved in politics?
Man.
It might be the toughest question of the day.
It's a question I get a lot lately, though.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Well, that's probably because you're running for office.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're on a parallel track here.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Yeah. It's a good question. So, honestly, it was something my wife and I talked about a lot throughout our career.
Okay.
And I'm not entirely sure why or how. It was just something that we considered. We thought, hey, this is...
Pull this thing a little closer.
Oh,
Keep
yeah,
it about a
sorry
fist
about that.
away. No worries.
It was something we thought that was kind of an easy transition. Service has always been something that was important to me.
So I know you were in the military. When you
Yeah.
say you and your wife's career, was she also military?
I just always include her for everything because there is no way I am where I am today without her. That's so I.
Fair statement.
When I say our career, I just mean mine. But she was like a huge reason, behind me being able to accomplish anything.
Okay. No, that's fair. I am divorced and remarried, but my ex-wife I would have described it the same way. I understand what you're talking about. I just didn't know if she actually, sometimes
no,
you have
she-
two service members married serving at the same time.
Yeah, no, she didn't. She likes to tell people that I tricked her into this because we got married before I went into the military. And the school, I did a year at a feeder school for BYU, and they didn't have an ROTC program or anything like that. But I knew from the time I was a little kid that, the military was where I was going. Maybe I left that out when we were initially dating, and so she felt like it was a surprise.
I mean, it's a slow process to get
Yeah,
in. So she had to have seen the warning signs.
No, she did. I mean, I didn't know, and I didn't know anything about the service academies or anything like that when we were dating. And so I was like, hey, I can do this 1 year and then go to the Air Force Academy. And, I was like, oh, too late. That ship has sailed. I'm already married, and they don't take married people.
They
So I was
don't?
like, no. Yeah, I didn't know that either at the time, obviously.
Do you know if that's true across all academies?
I would imagine so. I mean, that'd be a tough marriage. 4 years right off the bat, you don't see each other.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be tough, but that's an interesting go, no go criteria. Oh, well. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and also, who gets married at the stupid age that, we got married at? We were young kids. I was 21 and she had just turned 20.
Why'd you guys decide to get married that young?
Immature, dumb. I grew up Mormon, and I'm not Mormon now, but
What does that even mean?
I know, right? I still go from time to time. I still am very grateful for the moral foundation it gave me. And I still look at, whether you're a religious person or not, I still look at Christ as like, the perfect example of how you could live your life, things like that.
How does Christ fit into the Mormon methodology?
I mean, the name of the church is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Okay.
So
Same place as in, I would say, and I'm not an expert in Christianity
Yeah, no
either. I'm
worries,
just curious.
no
Yeah. So he holds the same place that he does in Christianity as well? Okay.
He is the Savior, so it's the same place or same, I guess, place in our religion as any other Christian religion.
Did you go to church more frequently when you were younger?
Yeah. I served a mission. So you did a podcast with Brian Slade.
Yep.
A couple years back. I'd say we're kind of similar in the same boat. I served a mission and
Where'd you do it?
Mexico. Veracruz, Mexico. So
I have been on a lot of airplanes out of Salt Lake City with young men and women heading out on their mission.
Yep.
I'm going to be honest with you, sitting behind a row of them on one flight, or one flights, wow, that's some great English for today, on one of the flights, it was interesting. They were talking about which cartoons they could watch and which ones they couldn't.
Yeah, it's a different world than when I went on my mission. When I went 96 to 98. And I think in your last podcast, you just turned 48.
I did.
So I'm like a month and a half behind you.
I know I look in my late 20s.
I know. It's crazy. Get it all the time.
Do you feel 48? Today's episode is brought to you by Montana Knife Company. Now, clearly, these are knives that are made in Montana by a company. It's in the title. But we're going to go to their website because there's something really cool going on right now. This is the Ultimate Hunting Truck Giveaway, sponsored by MKC. Win the truck of a lifetime. They have teamed up with some of the most iconic brands in the outdoor industry to create the ultimate hunting rig. $100,000 in total prizes, and one lucky winner is going to get to drive this thing home. They're going to ask you for your email address and your phone number, and you can sign up. Or I love this. You can just click, no thanks, I don't want to win $100,000 in epic prizes. If you didn't want to do that, then let's just click over here. What else do we have? Oh, it's right back at you. Knives, culinary sets. These things are fantastic for Christmas. Just look at all this. These are the knives that they currently have in stock right now. And it doesn't always go like that. We can click on see all. Some of these are going to be in stock. Some of these are not. And that's okay. Let's go back to their main page, because there's something else I saw here. This is what I'm talking about. Christmas, right around the corner. Montana Knife Company e-gift cards. You want to know what's going to make somebody super, super happy when they unwrap a present or find something in their stocking? This right here. Their ability to pick out their own knife. Because if you go through this and click on the shop knives section, you're going to find knives for just about everything outdoor and indoors. Culinary, butchering, waterfowl, birds, elk, everything in between. Big game, small game, you name it. Working in the electrical field, working at a ranch, all of that stuff. Give the person that you care about the opportunity to select the knife that suits them the best. And also, go sign up for this hunting truck giveaway. MontanaKnifeCompany.com. At the end of your checkout, do me a favor. Tell them that I sent you there. Back to the show.
Getting out of bed, yes. Up here, sometimes not at all.
I don't even feel in the same decade.
I still struggle when somebody says, if you do this, in the back of my head, and sometimes, depending on where we're at, out loud, I'm like, he said doo-doo.
Yeah.
So I still struggle with some of that stuff. So no, I don't feel my age at all. I do feel my age in pain.
Physically?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some weird... the mileage adds up for sure, but... Yeah, when I woke up on my birthday, my first thought was, really? Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think humans lived this long.
Yeah. I never thought I would make it this long.
I certainly didn't either.
I was a very, dumb kid that, which I credit to not being, or to still being mobile today. I credit, living the rough childhood and adolescence that we kind of had. You learn how to fall correctly, which, makes a big difference later on.
More than once.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no,
How did you drift away from the church?
Again, it's not so much that I drifted away. My big issue is with organized religion, I think. I think that's where I struggle the most. I feel like they have a platform, and I say they, it's like a royal they. All of them have this platform where they can do so much good in the world, and it just seems like they're silent so much of the time, and they just...
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know if it's because they're afraid they're going to lose their congregations, and there goes tithing,
and
there
the
goes
essence
money.
Of doing good? I mean, wouldn't that actually probably attract more people?
I agree with you, but that's why I struggle with it, because I just feel like there's so much negativity and vitriol that is just out there right now.
Yeah.
It used to be you could have a difference of opinion with somebody, and that was cool. You still got along, you still hung out, you still talked to each other on your way, out the front door in the morning, going to work. And now it's like, oh, well, you find yourself on the other side of this line from me? I don't want anything to do with you.
Let me ask you this, though.
Yeah.
Do you find that to be true in your personal, day-to-day, real-world life or online? Because I
agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the things, or that's one of the reasons I'm running. Because I think on the day-to-day...
That's a good platform.
Yeah, I'm going to shut down the internet. Yeah. You heard it here.
Good luck with that.
I'll probably win. It's already in the bag. No, I just mean... I want to make people remember that we all have so much more in common than we do dividing us.
Yeah.
Because like you said, on the day-to-day, we're not fighting with each other. We don't hate each other. But there is a definite, I think there is a definite difference now than, even 10, 15, 20 years ago, in that because of those differences of opinion, most of the time, they're usually something minor, but we stop talking to those people less and less. We're friendly to each other.
Yeah.
But, excuse me, I had a bacon, egg, and cheese croissant over there.
How was it?
Really good. They put a lot of bacon on there, but I'm going to burp it up for a little bit.
I mean, nobody wants a bacon egg croissant with not enough bacon.
Exactly.
You have to land on the potentially too much side.
Yeah. No, I think they strike the perfect balance. It was good.
It's a good crew over there.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I have very light hands over there. Otherwise, it would be a mess. The bacon, egg, and cheese would somehow not come with bacon because I would forget to order it.
Yeah.
I actually still really seek out in person. I enjoy very spirited conversations. Some of the most spirited ones I have is with my own father, who I think, Michael, you've been in the room enough times. Do you think my dad would describe himself as a classic liberal?
Yeah, I would say so.
I would say so, but it seems in his words. Good luck raising or lowering it.
Which one of these things does what?
You're just right there. That's all. You're locked in is the term that the kids use these days.
Yeah, I like it. He
would say that the left has moved farther left than he wants to go. But we still have, and so he'll have spirited conversations with those more on the left. And I actually we were having a conversation yesterday. I had a guest in who I would say his wheelhouse was Rome, essentially, the fall of empires. Very knowledgeable in that area, and he was talking about feeling equally unrepresented by both sides of the aisle, which is something that I agree with. Struggling to describe where I land politically. The best description I heard was from a buddy of mine, Richard Ryan. He said, "Libertarian bordering on anarchy." Not that you want anarchy, but that's how little you want the government involved.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so and on some issues I'm more right than my dad, and some issues we align, but at the end of the day, it's as if I'm going to cut him out of my life if we get into a heated conversation and he tries to explain to me something he saw on the internet, which, by the way, he doesn't know how it works at all. And he can't find or go back. I'm like, show me what you're talking about. Never once has that ever happened with me asking him to provide a piece of data that he claims to have looked for, because he doesn't know how to find it again.
Yeah, I think that's a common problem. My dad's 80.
78.
Yeah, so they're in the same...
Yeah.
They're in the same boat.
But I love it. I have nothing against somebody who holds a different opinion than myself. That is, in my opinion at least, what this country was founded upon, why people joined the military. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that we have in the military that a lot of people don't have. You are forced into small, confined areas with people that are from different sides of the country, different, whatever the background is, totally different people, and you got to make it work. And so you find common ground. Yeah. And that's where you make the differences. The way I look at it always is, you got if this is the political spectrum, you got nut jobs way out here on the right.
Oh, yeah.
And you got nut jobs way out here on the left. But like the overwhelming majority of us, we're all, within a couple of millimeters of that center line. You might have one or two issues that pull you out a little further, in one direction or the other. You might have some issues that you're a little outside on one side of the line and the other side of the line for other issues. But it doesn't change the fact that the bulk of people are found right there in the center, where we all have everything in common. We all want affordable health care. Nobody wants to be one medical emergency away from life-crippling debt.
Which is the case for a lot of people. Still one of the number one causes of bankruptcy in the U.S.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at modern countries, we're the only one that spends as much per capita as we do on healthcare, and still you have that risk of, your life ruining. You get that cycle where you can't work because you're sick, and so now you're not earning money. You go to the hospital to get it taken care of, and you're slammed with, outrageous amounts of debt, and so, but you can't go back to work because you're still sick. And so it just gets worse and worse. And that's how you have a lot of people, ending up in really bad situations. And so again, 95% of us, and I don't know what the real number is, are all right
Probably
here.
pretty close, to be honest.
Yeah. We're all right there in the center. Or everybody wants to be able to earn a living without having to work 2 to 3 jobs. There's so many things that we have in common, and if we focused on those things, these little distractions out here that the nut jobs want us paying attention to, and I don't think it's just the nut jobs. I think there's big benefit for big business and billionaires and elites to keep us distracted on these outliers. As long as we're focused on these weird little things that could divide us, we're forgetting the fact that we all really, you got that Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
We all need that same stuff.
Do you think when it comes to the billionaires that is an active or a passive approach to keep people preoccupied? Do you think that, and again, you can't speak for all of them, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's flyers inside of that as well too. But do you largely think that they even concern themselves with stuff like that, or they're focusing on just what led them to being in that economic status?
I think, and I would hesitate to ever say somebody is good or bad person because of their financial, health, because of how wealthy they are or are not. But I think they give fairly clear guidance to whoever runs their funds and whoever runs their entities that they need, and that gets twisted. It's in the mission, we're given clear guidance, we're told what to do, and oftentimes we're given a little bit of leeway on how to execute that mission. And you've seen it, I've seen it. There are some people that are a little overzealous in how they execute that mission and take a little too much leeway. And I think, and I'm just thinking of this right now, so I'm sure I'm going to be skewered over this later. But I think it started, like a lot of things, with good intentions, and it just, hey, that really benefited me. Well, let's do more of that. And then it gets worse and worse, and it just keeps growing.
So using your analogy, you're at say you're over in Afghanistan or Iraq, and a battle situation commander gives you an overlying goal.
Yeah.
And passes it over to people who are geographically going to go execute that. We have somebody who gets a little bit out of control, gets a little twisted, a little overzealous, and achieves the result, but for whatever reason it's beneficial to that. We'll call that the middleman. Is that the commanding general's fault, or is that the person who got twisted and got the benefit from it? I'm trying to figure, because does it go downstream and upstream? You know what I mean? It's got to go both ways.
I'm going to go to the book you got over there that we read a few years back when I was at the survival school. We did like a little book club thing, and extreme ownership was one of them.
Yep.
I'm going to go back to that because it's a great example. At the end of the day, the guy in charge holds the accountability, or should. They're responsible for what the people underneath them are doing. That doesn't always mean that they're condoning it. Yeah, that doesn't mean they're condoning it, or it doesn't mean that they told them to go out there and do that. But at the end of the day, they're responsible for the people that work for them.
Sure. Let's go back to the military, though.
Yeah.
You were an officer, right?
Yeah.
What'd you retire at? What rank?
Lieutenant Colonel.
05?
05, yeah.
Okay.
I tried at 05.
Okay. No, that's good. It's better than me at 03E, which I found a way to become an officer without a college degree or
I just heard that in your last podcast. I knew a guy in the Guard because in rescue, half of our assets are in the Guard and reserves.
Oh, okay.
Which made for very busy, dwell ratios.
Yeah, and administrative challenges.
Yes, yeah. My staff tour, I ran the gift map for all of rescue.
Yeah.
And that was a nightmare trying to coordinate their dwell times with our dwell times. Boy. And so it was
That's a different language, actually.
It is. It really is.
So this is back to my E4 days in the Navy. Never once was drinking and driving ever condoned in the community. And honestly, it's like probably it's in ejection seat. I like to believe there's just a button you push and you eject. The ARI, alcohol-related incident, would be that.
Yeah.
We would have guidance that was pushed out electronically. My LPO would talk to us. The OIC would talk to us. The operations officer, the commanding officer, all of this guidance. Mm-hmm. And a 20-year-old E3 or 21-year-old E3 will go out and ignore that and get a DUI.
Yeah.
Who holds the accountability for that? If each one of those people is doing exactly what they have been tasked with doing, because the reality is it's that guy's fault who got behind the wheel.
100%. 100%.
So I love the concept of extreme ownership. However, it can be flawed.
No, I totally agree with you. I think it's not as simple as I went to that because it's an easy way to highlight something as big as a mission. I think in a mission in that kind of environment, I think it's a lot easier, or it is a lot more cut and dry where the responsibility lies.
True. A lot of the times, though, the CG or the people at the top, they don't know that somebody is benefiting underneath them. No. Because their commander's guidance is trickled down so many different times, and it actually can be bastardized, or it can be diluted or misconstrued. But if you come back with, hey, mission success, they might not even realize it.
No, I agree 100%. I've seen it. We've all seen it in our careers. That's what can happen. But if we're going to we can pick a situation or hypothetical where they do find out, at the end of the day.
If they don't do anything about something they do know about, then I'm right back. I agree with you 100% on that. Yeah. Yeah, then this leads to, why do billionaires exist and they don't pay any taxes, or people who are wealthy don't pay any taxes? I'm like, listen, they're playing inside of the tax code that currently exists.
Bingo. That's
and
it.
If you don't want them to be able to do that, change the tax code.
Yeah.
I cannot fault somebody as a business owner myself. Yes, deductions are an amazing thing. Are all deductions, when you look at them, like, wow, are you sure this is legal?
That's allowed? Yeah, no, I totally get it.
And
I agree 100%.
And I didn't write the tax code, but I am a personal believer that the U.S. government is not a good steward of my money.
100%.
They have done a few things over the course of my life that lead me to believe that I don't want to give them anymore. So I also play inside of that tax system, 100% legal, but I am playing inside of the goalposts, and as are these people. Some of these write-offs are tremendous.
Yeah.
And so why are you upset at the person playing in that game when who you should be upset at is the people who are designating where the goalposts are on the field?
So there's so many layers to this discussion. I mean, it's like beards or facial hair in the military. Is it a stupid rule? Are we the only military in the world that still has a ban on facial hair?
I heard it came back
more
for a
than
bit.
likely. We can get into that, but my last assignment, I was at an embassy, and so I had no real connection to, home base.
Yeah.
And every once in a while I had to go to Aviano or Ramstein or something. And I walk around and I'm like, where are all these beards come from? And I'd pull somebody aside and be like, hey, did the rules change? Like, are we allowed to have beards now? And people are like, nah, they just stopped fighting it. I'm like, oh, okay. But the point I'm making, I know, right? The
that
point
is
I'm making,
the exact opposite of military discipline and order.
That's what I thought. The point I'm making is, as much as I disagree with the rule, as stupid as it might be for us to not be allowed to have facial hair, it's on the books.
Yeah.
So you got to enforce it. I totally understand shaving waivers and all that stuff. Legitimate reasons.
Yeah, case by case.
Waivers. I saw this thing where it was, some white dude who just, I don't know, identified as a mountain man kind of thing. And that was how he got away with having this freaking, like, really, really big beard. And I'm like, I don't understand how that's possible in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But back to the point is that the rule's there, so you got to follow it. The tax code is the way it is, and you cannot fault people for playing in that
Agreed.
within that tax code. Here's where I think you start getting into, it's not the exact same thing. These billionaires know exactly who pulls the strings, and they can afford lobbyists, and they can afford to send people to DC, and they will fund campaigns, and then, you know, when they get the people they pushed into office there, between, hey, reminding them that, hey, remember when I, you know, put out an ad at the last second that destroyed your competition and guaranteed you won, you know, I'm coming calling.
That I totally agree with, that happens. And I think there's a couple of changes I think have to be made in our political system or it's going to fail.
Yeah.
Term limits are one.
100%.
Single issue bills are another. And you have to, I mean, you can just look at the amount of time spent getting elected and then reelected versus the time doing your job and the influence that lobbyists have
It's ridiculous.
in Washington.
It's ridiculous.
You got to shake hand the lobbyists.
100%. I agree.
Which I don't know if what
yeah,
I
don't
just
know-
said is possible.
I don't know what
actually.
the answer to that is. I know that is definitely what we should be working towards.
Wouldn't the answer,
How you do that, though, is...
Wouldn't the answer to that be, if you did get rid of them, though, that the constituents and the people elected to office would listen to those that elected them to office instead of those writing the biggest checks?
100%. I mean, this is exactly the kinds of reasons that I'm running as an independent. You know, sometimes I land a little on the right, sometimes I land a little on the left, and you know, depending on the nature of the audience asking me the question, they'll say, "Well, why don't you just run as a Republican? You're just hiding as an independent, or why don't you just run as a Democrat?" In fact, somebody literally recently told me, like, you've partaken of the blue Kool-Aid, so why are you hiding? Why are you masquerading as an independent?
When did we start even talking like this, by the way?
I don't know. It's crazy.
Because that was 100% said as a pejorative.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, man, not everybody likes vanilla ice cream.
Exactly. I'm more of a cherry Kool-Aid kind of guy, you know,
Yeah.
the same thing that broke through the wall and said, "Oh yeah."
I mean,
that's where I, you know, if we're talking about real Kool-Aid, but yeah, you're right. It's pejorative thing now, and it's something that somebody way on the right will use to paint somebody that has that difference of opinion in a pejorative way.
Yeah, so they can dismiss them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you don't matter because you're just this, you know, weirdo that has extreme ideas.
Yeah, and that to me is the yellow brick road to it may be all coming apart.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see that. I don't know what it would look like, but
I think you hit the nail on the head. You talked about one of the things I want to do is remind people that they hold the actual power. And I know that sounds cliche and it sounds idealistic, but you know, how else do we get after minimizing the influence of lobbyists other than reminding people, hey, get off your rear end, go out there and vote for people that believe in things that you believe in. And I think another thing that kind of pigtails into that is, you know, perfect is the enemy of good enough. Mm-hmm. We're all looking for that perfect candidate. We're all looking for that perfect politician that aligns 100% with everything I believe.
Good luck with that.
That doesn't exist. It doesn't exist at all. And so I think I'm not a politician, and I said that on one of my I'm starting social media and all that stuff, which never really had, and so it's a eye-opening learning experience. Yeah. And I also have ADHD real bad, so I jump all over the place all the time.
Have you heard of the dead internet theory?
No.
So this will help you with social media. It helps me. A lot of really smart people in the internet ecosystem believe that a number between 70 to 85% of internet traffic is actually occurring through bots.
Really?
Yes. So when you are arguing with people or what you think are people, just go to YouTube and look up these bot farms. Michael, do me a favor. Go and see if you can find them. We're talking rows and rows and rows of storage systems and racks of cell phones that are hooked into computers. These are the people that they train to be contrarian, antagonistic, to learn by your response to try to, as you come into, so you're thinking you're talking with somebody, you're talking to somebody or some phone in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Sorry if Bangladesh, that's not where it's happening. That's the first place that came to mind. I've never been. Maybe it's spectacular.
Yeah, I'm sure it's amazing.
Did you find anything, Michael?
Yeah, it's not working. Hold on.
What's not working?
The internet, it's dead.
No,
That's the dead internet theory. Yes. Are we in the 80% of the internet that is dead, Michael?
the displays aren't working. Hold on.
Are you a bot?
You know why? Probably because you didn't set them up. Because
I
you went to
did set it
Japan
up,
and
but
forgot how to do your
no,
job.
It was working yesterday. I set it up.
No.
My son talks about this. I didn't know it was called the dead internet theory, but my son he'll be 23 in December.
Oh, yes.
He's
Listen
going to
to
be
the
a
ways of
theoretical
his-
physicist.
What?
Yeah, he's one of those. He's a low support needs autistic kid, and I mean, I can't even spell theoretical physicist. I'm a Spanish major.
Listen, sometimes I think I'm a theoretical physicist because I'll think about physics in a very theoretical way because I don't know anything about it. So I'll just switch the words around a little bit. Yeah. Here we go. So before you hit play, Michael, hit pause. Think of this when you're into social media, because I remind myself of this and it actually helps. You'll see the velocity sometimes of comments come in. You're like, wait a minute. How quickly were you able to consume what I just put out and have this? And it'll be.
Is there any real critical thought that went into your response? Because I posted it and you hit reply.
They're getting good though. Yeah. They'll get antagonistic. They'll want to suck you into this negativity loop. If you feel yourself getting ready to do that, think of this. Michael, hit play. This is a minor example of what I have seen.
I mean, already that's just insane.
That's the dead internet theory. So all of those could be trained to interact, and they do stuff like this to inflate numbers across a variety of things, right? Whether it's views on YouTube. I get weird emails. Hello, sir or madam. Yeah. Would you like to be the top, the number one rated? We're guaranteed to give you 1 million views, and like these
overnight.
So it actually, researching this a little bit, it's like.
Let you breathe a little and realize that it's not as negative maybe.
Yeah, you'll invest your bandwidth into talking to an AI-based device that is it's actually learning to be better at what it does based off of your response.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, tread with caution.
Yeah, absolutely.
On social media.
Absolutely. Well, what I need is a social media person. So
do it yourself.
They can tell me what kind of video they want. I can tell them what my position is, film it, and then I'll give it to them, and they can post it.
Listen to you. Already starting to sound like a politician.
No, it's not a politician. It's because I don't want
to. Media director.
I'll own it. I'll own what I say on film. I just don't want to have to do the posting or coming up with the captions or the hashtags. That's the stuff I don't want to do.
Listen,
I don't want to do any of that stuff.
For clarity, I'm a moron, right? So don't listen to anything I say, and I've never run for office, and I never would. I think, as a voter, and I don't even live in the district or the state where you're running, so my opinion is completely irrelevant. I would be more interested in the non-polished, no hashtags, because I tell you what's more important than any hashtag: quality of content.
Absolutely.
I would rather just see somebody super low production value, but a real person.
Yeah.
That is what I am interested in.
Yeah.
It's and it's not that hard. You could do it in 5 minutes every day.
No, and that's fine. And if I can find what I need is I'm a pilot. I need a checklist. Mm-hmm. I need to wake up every day and be like, all right, this is what you're doing from
but what happens
this time to this time.
You forget to bring your iPad to the bird. What are you going to do?
We never had iPads in the bird.
I mean, that's Bush.
I know we had.
Fourth flight is amazing.
I went through UPT and I learned how to fly in tweets, T-37s.
Okay.
The only jet they say is so powerful it needs a thrust attenuator. Do you know what I'm talking about? Has anyone ever talked to you about that?
No.
So the T-37 is this super old side-by-side jet. You're sitting right next to your instructor, so there was no getting away from it if you don't know.
Yeah, you can't hide anything.
Yeah, you can't hide it. They're right there. They're like, so did you miss a step? And you're like, I didn't think so, but
first off, I hate questions like that.
That's the worst.
Because sometimes the answer is no, and you want to say no, but you have to say yes because you have no faith in yourself.
Exactly. But 2 seconds earlier, you did.
Yeah.
2 seconds earlier, you were 100% positive that you nailed everything you were supposed to do. Then they asked that question, which is, I don't know, it's cheap. When I was an instructor, I never did it. I never played those stupid games because I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Just because it sucked for you doesn't mean it should suck for me, and doesn't mean it should suck for the next guy.
I agree.
I think there are way better ways, and we've come a long way in the military as far as how to instruct and train people. You know, we've done away with a lot of the pain just for pain's sake.
Yeah, which I think is smart.
Yeah.
So Air Force aviators, they all start fixed?
I think they're changing it. There was a small time where rotary wing went straight to rotary wing.
Okay.
I think it was a money decision. You know, it was a money driven factor.
Just saving time.
Yeah. But when I went through, it was fixed wing, and then you do your track select halfway through. I was the one guy that wanted helicopters. I've always wanted helicopters. I think I told you, I was an Army brat, and I grew up wanting to be a door kicker. And my dad was like, don't do that. You'll never have a family life. You'll never, whatever. He coached me away from it. And I was like, all right, well, the next best thing is I want to fly the door kickers to where they're going to go.
Let me ask you this. Having gone through that track of fixed wing to rotary, what do you think is more effective? Because I did the same. So I started flying helicopters about a year and a half ago. But
So much more fun, right?
so much more different.
It is. Yeah.
The best description I've ever heard is an airplane is a bowl with a marble in the bottom and you're just holding it there. A helicopter, you flip the bowl over and you put the marble on top and you got to keep that bitch on top.
Yeah.
Which is pretty accurate.
Yeah.
But I had all of the basic, I had my private commercial instrument, multi-ATP, and 2 jet type ratings before I ever got inside of a helicopter.
You are hands down a better helicopter pilot as a result of that.
It was so much easier
Yeah.
to sit in a helicopter and say, we are going to focus completely on helicopter stuff. Because I was there when other people would come in for their lesson and they're sitting there like, oh, what airspace are we in again? How do you talk on the radio?
Yeah.
Like, all that stuff still applied and I had that knowledge.
No,
but
you got basic airmanship down before you ever look at
I feel like
helicopter.
it would be very hard to learn how to fly a helicopter and be an aviator at the same time. I think there's some validity to the fixed wing track.
Yeah, I when they started looking at it when I was actually at my staff tour at ACC or Air Combat Command. They started looking at eliminating or taking rotary wing pilots in the Air Force and putting them straight into rotary wing. I'm not sure where that landed.
Yeah.
Because from that point on, I kind of took a different track. But I was against it. I was one of the voices fighting against it. I'm not sure where it happened. You know, I was a 04 at the time, and nobody cares what. And 04, its staff is like a butter bar everywhere else. There's
That's the
40
coffee
million.
bitch.
Yeah. There's you might be an 04 and a big deal on a regular base somewhere, but you go to a staff place somewhere and you are the person holding the briefcase. You are the person setting up the briefing beforehand.
I've been in the room with admirals and they're asking captains to go get them coffee. I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Absolutely.
I'm like, I don't ever want to be in your shoes. However, I get it. I'm like, this is the world, but okay, you're asking a CO equivalent of a...
Is that the best use of our resources?
Well, it was the only person that was traveling with him, so
Yeah.
it seemed to be going well.
Yeah,
All right,
somebody
you're-
has to do it.
So you're side-by-side in a jet. What is a thrust attenuator?
Okay, so thrust attenuator, it's a joke. It's obviously a joke. The tweet is so underpowered and so old.
Okay, it's just a
they're not
slug.
even flying anymore. Now it's a T6, it's the Texan 2. Much better, even though it's not a jet. It's a turbine.
Okay.
It's a...
Same theory, yeah.
turboprop, but it's way better. The thrust attenuator, right at the nacelles where you're getting your thrust,
Yeah.
it takes so long to go from idle up to mill power. I can't remember the exact number, but it's like 13 seconds.
Nice.
And so
We're talking a crisp run-up.
yes, yeah. The tweet wasn't built with a thrust attenuator. This was a mod after the fact as
Yeah.
this thing aged.
At
Because
least
you'd
you
have
would-
guys, doing touch and goes where they're just bouncing off the runway because
They got no juice
they've
coming
got
out
no
of it.
juice. And so what happens is you pull the throttle back to about midway, 50%, and these little attenuators come out to eliminate some of that thrust that's actually pushing you backwards, but the engine's still spooled up so that if you need to go around,
Yeah.
it takes, now it's like a second or two because that thrust attenuator comes back in and the jet's already spooled up, so it's not taking that 13 seconds to spin the...
As you're going off the end of the runway.
Exactly, yeah.
I tell you what, though, that would teach you to think way ahead for power management.
Oh, yeah.
You would be thinking way ahead of the aircraft.
Yeah.
And probably dead before you got to the point of thinking ahead of the aircraft.
Yeah, with a bunch of brand new pilots or students.
Yeah.
And
you need to give it gas 13 seconds before you need it.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to learn how to do, left-hand patterns in a...
No, when I first started in tweets, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, how many radios are going off right now? How many people are talking? It was one radio in the tweet. And I was just so overwhelmed with everything. Because, when we went to IFT, or initial flight training, which is basically like a screener. If you can't, they give you basically, a month and a half to get your private pilot's license. If you can't knock out a private pilot's license in that short amount of
Plus,
time.
you're probably doing this as a full-time JOB.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, you better be able to do it in a month and a half.
Yeah, and so it was kind of like a minor screening process, even though just to get to the point where you get a pilot slot in the Air Force, it is insane. It's cutthroat. Not cutthroat. Nobody's out there stabbing each other in the back, but it's super competitive. It's super competitive. So there's already a certain amount of screening that goes even before you get your pilot slot. So this is just like another way. But you're doing this at a little Class D airport.
Hell yeah.
Where you got a bunch of, you got nothing going on. And so you have all the time in the world, and the radio sounds like it's just an easy day. And the first time in tweets, just in the pattern, I was like, oh, I'm not going to make it. Like, there's so much going on, and I have no idea what they just said on the radio. And then you get used to that.
Isn't it wild how you get... I've flown around a little bit in the helicopter with my wife, and we'll be talking, and the radio will kick off, and she'll stop. I'm like, you're good. Like, I can listen to both of you at the same time.
I immediately knew it wasn't for me, 100%. So keep going. Yeah.
She's just like, what is that? I'm like, that's actually a guy 3 airports down. It's a shared frequency. And she's like, how? What? I'm like, you just keep chatting. I'll let you know if I need to say something. Yeah.
It's amazing how your SA, your situational awareness grows as you do something. And I'm sure it was the same thing, when you're going through buds and further iterations of training. You're just so impressed and amazed with the instructors and how much they're able to, pinpoint what you did at, minute 15 of the last iteration that screwed all this other stuff, and they can tell you all the little things. And I remember thinking the same thing. Like, before I went to pilot training, they sent us as casual lieutenants because there's just always such a backlog to get into pilot training. So I was in a fighter squadron for not quite a year. And I got all the rides I wanted in an F-16. It was pretty awesome. It was fun. And even with that, I always knew I wanted to be a helicopter pilot, but it's a sexy world in the fighter.
Did you keep that part to yourself?
Kind of.
I'm just saying, sometimes it's better to keep personal aspirations personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
especially in that world, because fighter pilots, I'm sure
I've been around a few.
You've been around a few.
Yeah.
They it's a different community.
Agreed.
So yeah, I wasn't necessarily broadcasting it or shouting it from the rooftops, but there were ideas. I think somebody on the litho, when I left that unit, somebody mentioned like, hey, we'll see you back here in the real CAF, not in that stupid rotary wing crap. I'm like, okay.
Until they eject and need to get picked up, and then perhaps they'll be very grateful. So where to go after the tweets?
So after tweets, well, I mean, I think the original point I bring that up is they told us in tweets, like, you will never go to anything more archaic than this. So eat it up. It's all going to get easier from here on out. Then I went to Hueys.
Which is probably way more archaic.
Which was way more archaic. We still had NDBs.
UH-1.
Yeah, we still had NDBs in the Huey.
Which, for the listeners, a non-directional beacon, which I would die if I had to do an NDB approach right now, but I had to do them for my instrument rating.
Yeah. And on top of that, our instructors were all Vietnam-era pilots.
Mustaches?
Oh, yeah.
Just handlebar?
Huge individuals. We're talking like...
Hell yeah.
Very, very big individuals. But, I mean, these were like...
That was your first chopper, was a Huey?
Yeah. Yeah. It was awesome. It was amazing.
There's 2 of them over at the airport where I fly.
Let's go.
With the fire service. God, I love the sound of the blade.
Oh yeah,
thwap of a Huey.
My dad will still be like wop 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 wop. You know,
God, I love it.
Thump his chest as he's doing it.
Is it true that if you do an auto rotation, one of those things, you can set it down and you still have enough collective to pull it up and do a 180?
Yeah, it depends on what you're doing. And that was, I haven't thought about that in forever. We did touchdown auto rotations in Hueys.
Yeah.
You know, they filled the skids with rubber, a dense rubber, and they put these titanium.
Just in case.
Yeah, they put these titanium skids or shoes underneath the skid.
Yeah.
Because we beat the crud out of those things.
Yeah, I mean, you can misjudge it a little bit. You only get one pull.
Yeah. I have seen Hueys destroyed in students. With students trying to do auto rotations.
I have heard that airframe above almost all else, just for whatever reason, retains an incredible amount of energy on an auto.
It's so much easier to auto rotate a Huey than it is a Blackhawk, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
I think. Wow, there's generations of technology between those two things as well.
Really is. Well, there's supposed to be. Now there is. With the newer whiskey model, that thing is amazing. Never got to fly it.
Yeah.
Because I had moved on from flying at that point. But yeah, the Huey is just a blast. So much fun to fly.
How much did you fly that? And what was the next airframe after that?
Then I went to initial qual, which was 60s.
Okay.
HH60, the Golf model.
Okay.
And then we still didn't have glass cockpits in that thing.
Steam gauges work, man.
It does. It works great.
Yeah.
It works great. The only interesting thing, or not interesting, but it's funny having a steam gauge because, when we fly with 50 cals, and if those 50 cals are anywhere forward of like 30 degrees, you can watch the needles bounce with every shot.
Maybe bouncing from like green to yellow, and returning.
Yeah. As long as it's bouncing in the right range.
Not as it's not bouncing and then it like goes, what happened? Which then you'd probably still be okay because the needle probably just broke. But
yeah. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Like if you've ever stood in front of a large caliber weapon.
Man.
It's like getting slapped in the face. It's like getting, because your eyes go a little fuzzy.
Yeah.
Because when you're flying with 50 cals, and the gunners know this, if you're firing forward, it beats the pilot up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's right here, and you're inside that wedge.
Yeah,
where
you
the
didn't have a
concussion
talk
is
with the crew chief and let him know what's up. I had a guy crack off a Barrett 50 cal sniper rifle once that has this.
Yeah, the monster.
Unbelievable muzzle brake. I did not have my ear pro on at the time. I had a headache for a good 3 days.
Yeah.
I felt like a donkey had kicked me in the head.
Yeah.
It scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not pleased with that.
But it's nice for us being able to fire off the nose, but you just know you're gonna take a little bit of a beating.
Yeah.
It's not too bad, but it's not fun either. It's not something I would be like, yeah, sign me up.
I do love the 60s. I got a good amount of time in Hawks of from Seahawk to Blackhawk to what do the Air Force call them?
Pave Hawk.
Of course. Why can't they all?
I know. It's the same basic helicopter. It's the same basic helicopter that the 160th flies, as far as what we put on it and all the bells and whistles and self-defense systems, things like that.
I think they're amazing.
I love it. It's great. I've never flown a slick 60, which I can only imagine would be like driving around in a Corvette.
What were they with all this stuff on? A little bit more sluggish?
A lot more sluggish.
Yeah, because it's just weight, right? And drag.
Because the 60 was originally, and we're going back in time now, but I think it was 18.6 for max gross weight.
Yeah.
We flew around at 22.
Okay.
When I first started flying, they were getting cracks in the 308 beam, which is one of the structural support beams of the helicopter, and that would down the helicopter.
Yeah, I feel like that's not a good thing.
Yeah, and in fact, when they first started happening, it downed the fleet. By the time I finished, it was just, you're just making sure that the 308 beam cracks had been checked, and they're monitoring them in maintenance. And
no, I don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't like the monitor and maintain
because they put panels or little plates over the cracks.
And then if that plate sheared, then you know the crack is worse?
Well, no, because it would just transfer the force somewhere else. It's like in motocross, they get better and better boots, and then they go further up, and so it just transfers the force from your ankles to your knees and then to your hips. So, we're not out there flying them in some kind of casual manner too.
No, you guys are bending those.
You're out there beating the crud out of them. I think in 2009, we were in the Helmand province, and in 1 3-month period, I think we went through 12 motors. Just because the
just
brownout
over-torquing
landings,
them?
yeah. Well, just not even over torquing them, but you're landing to these unprepared sites.
Oh, just ingesting all that debris.
Yeah, ingesting all that debris and hay and sand, which turns to glass, which hardens on the turbines. And
Yeah,
so,
none of that is good for performance.
Yeah, so you monitor. We do these hit checks, before every flight, and when it hits a certain range, you're like, all right, it's time to get a new engine.
Did you see the video footage of the helicopter that came apart in flight in New York?
Recently, the one.
It was a tourist helicopter. What
Yeah.
do you think happened there? I hate to make guesses, but
The fact that it started spinning, to me, it's either a tail rotor issue, or because that's what.
and then the main blades came off too. Like that thing came apart.
I didn't see that before, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But I did see something where it was spinning.
Yeah.
And if it's spinning, to me, that's a torque issue. And
Yeah,
the
lost
tail
the tail
rotor
rotor
is no
probably,
longer pushing, whether it's a push or a pull. But it's no longer countering the torque of the main rotor blade.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like when it goes bad in helicopters, one, you're generally closer to the ground, and there's no airplane will kind of glide for a little bit. Not that it's not going to go bad for you, but yeah, closer to the ground. There are some really gnarly helicopter crashes out there on video. Most of them are in my Instagram feed at this point. So I get to do a little after action review and be like, how do I make sure I never do that?
Yeah, helicopters are just, they want to beat themselves to death.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen where they put the camera at the root of a blade, main rotor blade?
Yes.
And
Looking
just
outward.
how much it's moving.
Or the lead and the lag and the flex.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoy flying them. I wish I knew more about the maintenance cycle and how to look at it myself. I have to rely upon those way more trained than myself. And actually,
Yeah. It was weird too, because, when you go from tweets to Hueys, then into the 60, in Hueys, we didn't have flight engineers. It was just, the instructor and 2 students. And so we did all the pre-flights. So we knew so much more about the helicopter. Then you went to the 60, and now we have flight engineers and gunners, or they're all SMAs now, special missions aviators. And I think the pilot loses a certain amount.
So they're doing all the walk-arounds? Pilots can
They're
just
doing
walk
the
to bird?
walk-arounds. Pilot will do a generic walk-around just to look for things that are out of place, and you're checking specific things here and there. But in general, like the FE or the SMA is the one who's really making sure that helicopter is good to go before you take off.
Yeah, it's been cool. It's been one of the most interesting and fun ways to explore Montana.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. I can't even imagine what it would be like flying around here.
It's amazing.
It'd probably be like flying around Afghanistan, but no one's shooting at you.
Which is preferable.
Yeah.
Hunting season is right now, though. So, you never might catch a winger off a rock.
We used to get shot at in Dothan, Alabama, out near Fort Rucker.
Why?
Because farmers don't like you flying over their chicken coops. Or
did you ever
whatever.
return the favor? Just a little, just quick, just burp.
Yeah.
Give him just one little burst off the old minigun. Just burp.
No. The Huey that we were flying, we didn't roll armed.
Well, that should obviously be changed.
I agree.
Yeah. So did you do your full 20?
I did. I was just shy of 22.
Why'd you decide to get out?
We were done. We were just done.
That's a real thing.
Yeah. They wanted me. The reason I kind of hemmed and hawed a little bit when you asked about my rank is I had a strat. I was a number 1 strat for my next promotion board. I turned it down. I was like, hey, don't burn that on me. I don't want it.
It's not an uncommon
I don't need to promote, and you get a strat. I was working for the Defense Intelligence Agency at the time, and a civilian 2-star equivalent gives you a strat, you're promoting. And that conversation with the 06 who was back in DC, who was working that for us, was very interesting. My wife was just like, eating popcorn because I'm talking to this guy probably in a way that no one's ever talked to him before, because he's trying to tell me to do my own PRF, your promotion recommendation folder. I don't even remember anymore. And I was like, I don't care. You can just write, doesn't wish to promote. That's all you have to do. He's like, well, you know, fill it out and get it sent back to me and we'll get it taken care of. I was like, no, I don't think you're understanding me, sir. I don't care about promoting, you know, so I'm not going to fill anything out.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, so you're going to make me do the work. And I was like, well, actually, sir, it is your job to fill out the PRF.
Oh yeah, he's not going to like that particular comment.
No, he wasn't too happy.
Yeah.
But I had an awesome boss at the time. The 06 I was working for at the embassy. Great dude, Derby, old F-16 pilot. And they ran into each other at some event in Ramstein, and this guy tried coming down on me. He's like, oh, profit works for you, huh? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, that guy's a piece of work, isn't he? And my boss had none of it, you know. He had my back, and he's like, look, dude, this guy's retiring, and if anything, he's turned it up, and he's working harder.
Yeah.
You know, he hasn't checked out like a lot of people. Now, if he had said that 6 months later, 6 months closer to my retirement, yeah, I had checked out.
Yeah. So you were in Europe when you got out of the military?
Yeah.
How does that work? Is the military obligated to fly you back to the States if you want them to?
Yeah. Yeah. So your final PCS or final move, they'll move you to wherever you want to go.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I was I was stationed in San Diego when I got out, which is where I lived, and it's like deuces, Naval Air Station, North Island, DD-214 in pocket, and freaking see you later.
That was about the nicest thing, but because retiring out of an embassy sucks. Like, you know, you can go stand on somebody's desk when you're at the same location, you know, if they're not taking care of your paperwork.
Yeah.
But being at an embassy, man, you're somebody else's problem. And that was for everybody. Everybody thought you were somebody else's problem.
And did you move back to Spokane upon leaving?
Yeah. My wife is from the Spokane area.
Yeah.
So since we got married, that's always been our home away from home.
How long have you been out now?
A year in August.
What did you think that you wanted to do when you got out? Was it what you're doing now?
No. I was originally in a master's program I was going to get another master's degree in teaching and go teach high school Spanish and French. And my wife was like, hey, you've been pushing pretty hard for the last 22 years. Maybe take a breather before you jump right in. Because it was going to start. I was on terminal.
Just run for office.
Exactly.
Take a breather.
Well, I have had my breather now. It's been a year.
Your wife's getting
That wasn't, yeah, I know. That she can't blame me on that one because she's part of the reason why I decided that it was something we needed to do. When I was first approached, because it wasn't, I didn't just decide, I didn't wake up one morning and say, I'm going to run for office. Somebody approached me after knowing a little bit about me, what I stood for, what I had been in charge of and done or accomplished in the past. Said, hey, they actually asked me, I'll bet you're pretty intellectually bored right now. And I was like, yeah, you could say that a little bit. And she's like, you should run for office. And I immediately rejected it out of hand, just like, nah, no thanks. Because even though I told you my wife and I had thought about public office at whatever level, there was no level attached to that. We just thought, it'd be another way to continue serving. Mm-hmm. And that's what I thought about teaching as well. It's another way to continue
100%
serving.
is, yeah.
So, I rejected it immediately, but then started to think about it and talk with my wife about it because she's smarter than I am. She always helps me see things.
That's the way for guys.
Much more clearly.
You got to punch up.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to punch outside your weight.
Exactly. Yeah. But we came to the conclusion that we're not necessarily happy with the direction of the country, not now specifically, but over the last 15 years. It just seems like people are getting more and more contentious, and maybe it's the bot farms.
I think the bot farms, I don't know if
they add to it. They make it worse.
I was going to say, I don't know if they're the flame, but I do think they're an accelerant. Yeah. I don't think it's causal, but it's corollary for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I'd agree with that. But we came to the conclusion that we sure like to complain about things, about the fact that people seem to have lost their voice, the power. The representatives are more interested in pleasing party leadership or their big donors than they are taking care of the people that elected them into office. And so we came to the conclusion that, if we're given the opportunity to do something bigger, to make an impact, to fight for something that we believe in, and we don't take that opportunity, then I lose the right to complain about it.
I agree with that. It's easy to sit there and complain about everything that is not going well, and it is shocking how many people are unwilling to lift a finger to change anything about it. Now, I'm not saying everybody should run for office, but
there's so much more you could do. There's
Yeah.
so much more you could do. Even just being educated on who you're voting for, if that's all you do, imagine how different the world would be right now, or imagine how different the U.S. would be right now. Because right now, people basically look at party line. They look at who has what letter next to their name, and they know what letter is next to their own personal name, and so they just down the line. You know, it's either all R or all D. And
do you think there's room for a third party? It's interesting you're choosing to run as an independent.
yeah,
And I'm not an expert in our electoral system, but I have heard enough people say, and I have watched enough elections play out that the independent is not often the one that is elected.
no. But I think we're at a different point in time. Independence, it's not like the Ross Perot's of old, you know.
His hand-drawn papers
Yeah.
were amazing, though.
Yeah. No, I mean, Ross Perot was a, I think he was genuinely a good dude.
Yeah.
But, you know, he was maybe ahead of his time as far as like seeing, you know, this two-party system seems more like a failed experiment than a functioning government.
People kind of did look at him as a little bit of a nut job at the
Yeah.
time, didn't they?
Yeah. But now
Yeah.
you get more and more people, and I don't have the numbers memorized, but like there's not a majority, but it's close to 50%. In fact, it might be 49% right now of people that identify more than anything as independent. And not so much that they would actually go change their registration, but they look at what's happening in the Republican Party and they look at what's happening in the Democratic Party. And you said it earlier, and they feel like, well, neither of these.
Equally unrepresented.
Yeah, exactly. Neither of these jokers are doing what benefits me and my community and my neighbors. So, you know, more and more people are wishing for another option. And I think one of the benefits of being an independent is I don't have to please party leadership. I won't take, you know, big corporate donations or things like that because I'm not going to be beholden to them. I firmly believe that our elected representatives should only hear the voice of their people.
How many?
I don't want to say only, because you have to listen to experts. You have to listen to industry because, you know, it's all part of the community.
Yeah.
But the largest voice that any representative should be listening to is the voice of the people.
How many currently sitting congressmen are independent?
Not a lot. I'm not sure what the
Michael,
number
can you
is.
look that up? Not like they're doing their job right now anyway, but
Yeah. No,
what are your thoughts on that? The old government shutdown. As somebody who wants to get into the game, currently you would be getting a vacation, I believe they called it, paid.
Yeah.
Isn't it
Paid
weird
vacation.
how
I've heard a lot of people say that they should be the last ones to get a paycheck, and I am so 100% on
Here's
board with
another
that.
idea. I accept that premise. How
Yeah.
about this? If you allow the government to shut down, you are immediately no longer eligible for re-election.
I like it. I like term limits. I like
It
I like
is
that.
your job to
It's
work and find
accountability.
common ground for this country.
It's accountability. And guess how many government shutdowns would be once that rule is in place?
0.
Zero. Never gonna have
There are 4.
another government shutdown.
Okay, so 4 current sitting members of Congress who are registered as independent, 2 in the Senate, Angus King and Bernie Sanders at
Yep.
the burn, and 2 in
burn.
the House
Feel
of
the burn.
Representatives who are not specified in the snippets provided but are listed in the search results. What?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I don't even know what that means. What do those words even mean?
Joe Manchin and
Important
Sinema?
note, some members who are elected as independent may caucus with the major party. That makes sense, like King and Sanders, who caucus with Democrats.
Yeah.
Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema,
I think.
I never would have gotten there on my own, if I'm being honest, who were previously elected as Democrats, switched independent and status in 2020. Okay, so 4. That is
Not a lot.
It is not a lot. And like it says, they oftentimes will caucus with one of the main two parties anyway, so I bet you most people would probably just assume that they are an equal part of that party.
I won't lie. I'm pretty plugged in to, I pay attention, I read the news. You know, as an attaché, you had to know what's going on. And it's a hard habit to break. It's a hard habit to, you know, I'm a news junkie. Even with that, I didn't know Bernie Sanders was an independent until within the last year.
I would have guessed a Democrat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't say that negatively. That's
No,
just,
it's just because he caucuses with the Democrats. And, you know, that's a question I get a lot is who are you going to caucus with? And
we need a different word for that.
Right?
Yeah.
I agree.
Can we have some, because again, as a 48-year-old idiot, I'm like, what did you just say?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, Michael, who do you caucus with? How about we just say, who do you meet with?
Yeah. Well, it's to me, it's like, who are you going to work with?
Yeah.
And to me, as an
Which,
independent,
by the way, if you described it as that, the average American would understand that.
exactly.
Go out to your average American, to include myself, and say, what does it mean when you caucus with somebody? And they're like, yeah, I can't talk about that here. That's adult-rated content.
Yeah, exactly. But if you want to simplify it, it's like, who are you going to work with?
Yeah.
And
The
to
answer should
me,
be everybody.
Exactly. To me, it's okay. My priority is always going to be Washington's 5th district. And so every time I think of who am I going to work with, I'm going to think of the needs of Washington's 5th district. And if that means I'm working with this group over here of Republicans because they're pushing legislation that will benefit Washington's 5th district, okay, on that issue, I'm with them. If the next issue lines up with the Democrats, guess what? I'm going to work with them. Because at the end of the day, what matters to me and what should matter to all of the representatives is what is important for your district, for your state. And if you're not asking that question instead, and you're instead asking, well, what do my party leadership want me to do? You know, when you get threats like, well, if you vote with the other party, we're going to primary you. We're going to run somebody against you because it's more important to them to toe the line with their party than it is to work for the district.
What does the person do when they're told that? That's a real gnarly spot to be in, because I want to believe, I know some people, I have known some people, I do know some people who I served with them before in the military. They got out and they went into politics. And I want to believe, and maybe I'm rounding the edges a little bit, but let's just say the vast majority, to not use an absolute, I feel like they would describe exactly what you said. They want the best for the people that they represent. And they would talk about, to me, what you're talking about, being able to work with both sides, I would just define that as being reasonable.
Yeah.
I don't, that to me is not an extreme concept. No. And I don't know,
shouldn't be.
Yeah. And I don't know what happens in the halls of Congress and in the Senate, but I am of the belief, or am trending towards the belief, that the system is actually rigged against people who want to do that, and they end up with that question. Or they end up in a room and somebody who's been there, like Nancy Pelosi, who's been serving for 198 years, the last time I checked.
I think it's actually 199.
I'm
not positive, but too long.
Can we get some fresh blood? Here's another rule I'd like. This is a total tangent. Both presidential candidates are not allowed to have a combined age over 150. How about this?
I think we should even move that a little bit in the other direction.
That was just covering the last one, and I actually think it was like 160 something. How about both candidates, maximum age combined 100? You can run an 80-year-old, but the other dude got to be 20.
Well, so we got to go back to 37 because that's how
we're gonna have to change that one too. Listen, you can run a 90-year-old, but you're going up against a guy in grade school.
You're going up against an adolescent. Okay, I like it.
I worry that the systems that are in place and the power brokers that are in place are so entrenched that even somebody who comes in with, I am going to, everything you described, and then they try to do that. And at the end of the first week, they end up in a little knock on the door, right? And whatever power broker comes in, they're like, listen, you are going to support your party and caucus with us, whatever it may be, or we're going to primary you and get rid of you. What does that person do? Because what if if that other person has the ability to primary them and get rid of them, they are on an egg timer, and they're actually not going to be able to accomplish any of the things that they ran on, which is not going to be their fault necessarily because they're going to be ejected. But that just means that the system is broken.
I agree. So not having gone through that yet, can I get back to you in a year?
Yeah.
Can I get back to you in a year and a couple of months? I'm being optimistic here. I think we have a good shot. I think there's a lot of people.
We're going to need a safe
fed
word.
up.
It should be pineapple. And yeah.
Is it upside down pineapple or is it just pineapple?
Just pineapple in general, just so it can be broad.
Okay.
And the reason I say that I think that system is the way that it is that I've seen changes in the people that I knew before.
Yeah. I think people show up with good intentions.
Yes.
By no means do I think people run. There are probably people that do, but in general, I don't think they run in an effort to gain power for themselves or enrich their own lives.
I think some do.
I think some do.
Yeah.
But I think in general, most of them, they want to do good things. They want to make people's lives better.
I think if you're in there for your 40th year, you might fall into the latter category.
Agree.
Because things have shifted in your life. Oh
term limits are absolutely a thing that I'm going to push for.
I don't think we survive without them.
I think there's going to be a lot of people when I get in that are going to hate my guts because I'm not going to sit there quietly. I'm going to make noise and I'm going to point out things that I've thought as a regular citizen for so long. And then when you get there, it feels like they've forgotten all those things that they complained about that they didn't like. And they just get on the train and start doing, the same crud. So term limits, absolutely. Like, I don't know what the right answer is on how many. I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 for Congress, for the House, because
how long is a term?
That's 10 years. It's 2 years per term. Mm-hmm. If you can't make change, like real change in 10 years, sorry, it's time for new blood. It's time for somebody who's a little more plugged in, a little more connected to come in and give it a shot.
What would the mechanism actually be for term limits to be established?
I think it's just like everything else. It's got to be passed into law. So somebody in the Senate or Congress would have to. Somebody has to write a bill and get co-sponsors and get everybody on board.
Michael?
Yes.
Most of the time, I'll be honest with you, I don't think he's paying attention. He's drawing right now. I guarantee you he's drawing.
I'm writing for the whatever.
Can you Google? I'm just fascinated. I wonder if term limits have been attempted before.
They have.
And I want
every once in a while somebody will put it out.
Pull up for you because I'm interested to know how many times have term limits attempted to be, what would it be, instilled, installed, put into law?
Instigated.
Who knows? It's a word that I wouldn't know how to use properly anyway, so we'll just make some stuff up.
It's similar to every once in a while somebody will propose legislation to drug test members of Congress.
Oh, they don't get drug tested?
No.
I mean, I'm sure though that they are not.
How are they going to party?
No, that's not what they're there for. No. They're there to serve the people.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
I want to believe we're still at a place in our system where term limits could happen. I don't know if we could get that many people to vote against their own personal self-interest.
So here's the thing. I think how you do it, and again, I'm no expert. I'm new into this world. But
dozens of times at the state level through ballot initiatives and legislative actions, multiple times at the federal level through constitutional amendment attempts, and historically since the nation's founding for the presidency, culminating in the 22nd Amendment limiting presidential terms. Yep.
And you know what's crazy? It gets ridiculous bipartisan support. Everybody.
Term limits does?
Term limits, yeah.
Where does it get shut down then?
I just mean like people.
Yeah.
Regular people, we all want term limits. But then these jokers get up there into their offices And I don't know if it's the same thing, that knock on the door their first week, and they're like, look, we saw your campaign. We saw you said term limits.
It was real cute.
We're going to primary the show. Yeah. Time to, you can give that lip service every once in a while. You can say something about it. We're not going to tell you can't say it anymore.
But here's how you're going to vote on the next 10 bills.
Yeah.
I
think that has to be what is happening. And
would you be shocked if that was found out to be in existence? I would not. My shock level would be at a 0%.
No. But here's the thing. I keep saying here's the thing. Like I have the silver bullet. I don't know if I do, but I think it's all about transparency. You know, how many times in your job, in your career, were you told to do something without being told the why, and it pissed you off? And then later you were told to do something very similar, but they took the time to explain why.
Yeah.
Which one pissed you off? Which one didn't?
The one without the why. This goes right back to the extreme ownership and talking about leadership in general.
Yep. So you get transparency in there, and people will all of a sudden put up with a lot more. Like taxes, those are necessary evil, right? Mm-hmm. You got to pay taxes. We want roads. We want schools. We want all the stuff that comes from paying for taxes. Would you say that the tax code is transparent?
I think it is by design.
Super opaque.
Opaque and honestly obscure, where the people who want to take the most benefit hire the experts with the best understanding, because, again, most of the words in the tax code falls back into things I don't understand, which is why I use an accountant.
Yeah. No, but I mean, if we take the tax code and we simplify it, we get rid of loopholes, we get rid of get rid of all these things that allow people to sidestep, paying for the same roads that they want to drive on every day.
What do you think about a flat tax?
So flat taxes, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert on it. And on its surface,
like the concept though. On the surface.
On its surface, it always sounds like a good deal. I was just looking at this the other day, actually. Flat taxes disproportionately affect lower income people because we're the ones out there buying all the, or I'm not smart enough on this, so I don't want to get myself in trouble.
Why not? It's just the internet.
I know.
What could possibly happen?
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody would ever
be a meme tomorrow.
Clip this up and send it to your
right. There's going to be a TV commercial from Michael Baumgartner talking about.
So
it disproportionately affects middle and lower income people. Then it hurts. It hurts some people more than others.
I mean, maybe
on its surface, it looks great. But I'm not smart enough to tell you why or how.
Maybe there's a way you could. I mean, we have tax brackets now, but I don't know, 5% for the lowest, whatever. 7. I mean, again, that would be at least. Well, again, on its surface, that would be so much more.
It would be simpler.
It would be simpler, but then there's ways to hide complexity in that as well, too, right? Because that's what
you
it
can
says
make
up
hybrid.
front.
I think hybrid systems where you've got the flat tax, but then you've got other things that again. I should lead off. I should have led off with, I will never be the smartest person in the room.
You don't have to be.
Ever. But what I do know how to do really well is build a team. And I know how to surround myself with the experts. I know how to surround myself with the people that do have the answers. I'm not afraid to say, I don't know. Because, I say this a lot. The word ignorant has become largely a pejorative term, largely negative. Mm-hmm. But we are all, to a person, more ignorant about so many more things than we are knowledgeable. Oh, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can't expect everybody to be an expert about everything. So when it comes to taxes, there are better ways to do it than what we're doing right now. I don't have the education or the background or experience to write that myself. But I know how to find those people. And other than very few individuals where this system really benefits them, everybody recognizes the need to do it. I'm not naive. I understand that it's going to be very difficult to do it. I understand that it's going to take a lot of, cajoling and convincing to make it happen. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't make the effort. And it feels like right now, a lot of times what gets said is, well, you have no idea how difficult it would be to change it. That's not a reason not to change it.
Yeah, that's not really an obstacle that you should just look at and say, I guess I'm not going to try.
Yeah.
And then there's the other side of that too, right? So taxes being the income that the country is making, spending would be another really good place to take a look at what we're doing. Perhaps we could, like a water faucet, a little tweakage, right? Maybe the water's a little too hot, we can cool it off. Again, we were having this conversation yesterday. You know, the current administration, you love them or hate them, there's some things that they ran on. Debt reduction being one of those. And last I checked, it is still on an Elon Musk rocket ship headed towards $40 trillion, which is a problem that if we don't get our hands around pretty damn soon.
You know, in the last like 9 months, we've added $2 trillion. In 9 months.
Yeah, but you want to know the reality? I don't understand that number.
Nobody does.
And that's why
it's such a big number.
And I think that's why people, when they hear that, they go,
okay,
awesome.
Now what?
I'm going to go get a latte.
Yeah.
Because I think that's less than $2 trillion. Yeah, 9 months. And again, God, we were talking about this yesterday too. I loved the idea of Doge. What it has become in actuality, I'm not even sure if they're still Doging currently.
The execution, like the idea, awesome, needed.
Yeah.
The execution, really poor. My wife is a federal employee.
Well, they just got started. They didn't even finish. And it's just poof, because Elon's not running around with a chrome-plated chainsaw on national TV anymore.
It's that transparency we were talking about.
Yeah.
You know,
and there are ways to do it. Not everything is a broadsword problem. There should be some scalp. Was your wife impacted by the Doging?
So she got a phone call from her boss.
I was hoping you were going to say Elon Musk.
Yeah. She got a phone call from Elon. He said, look, no.
Which for a while, I think he was her boss.
Technically, probably. But she got a phone call from her boss after they got some emails, because she works for BPA, which is the Bonneville Power Administration, which is part of Department of Energy.
Okay.
But they're self-funded.
What?
So it's a government entity, and I'm probably going to screw all this up. My wife later is going to be like, you're an idiot. You should never talk about my job again. But they basically are I'm oversimplifying the crud out of this, basically because I don't know how it really works. But they're the brokers for power in the region. I think it's for like 8 different states. So they own the dams, own the power generation, and they work with the people that own the lands where the water is. So they work with the tribes, they work with everybody, they work with farmers who then pay or build up contracts to get what they need, the power they need, all this stuff. So through that, they're able to fund themselves. So they don't receive federal funding for
Even though they're a federal entity. Interesting.
Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by Element. I'm just going to hold this up and read it. This is what it comes in if you get their packets. They have a variety of expressions in this. They have the bubbling sparkly water, which is fantastic, in 16 and 12 ounce with a variety of flavors. But here's what you get. 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. This is an electrolyte drink mix. You would not think that something that comes, here I'll open this up and show you how small of a packet this is, but this is actually important to show because this goes in my fanny pack, this goes in my backpack, this goes in my suitcase. Getting ready to go to Costa Rica as I record this. I'll be taking about 2 of those boxes so I don't die. You wouldn't think that something that comes in a container this small would be life-sustaining, and life-improving. The difference, though, when I train hard and I focus on consuming electrolytes afterwards, holy cow. It's like as if you can feel the energy coursing through your veins. Let's go over to their website real fast here. Lemonade salt is the first thing you're going to see up top. I can't recommend this enough. It tastes like the salt. It tastes like the lemonade that I used to have when I was a kid. It's fantastic. What's cool here is you're going to get a free sample pack if you go to drinklmnt.com/clearedhot. That's the offer that comes with the show. Here's all the reasons right here why you would want to do this. Drives energy production, sharpens focus and clarity, boosts recovery and sleep quality, and protects against cramping. There's some smart people. Like, who is this guy? Andrew Huberman. Oh, yeah. Probably one of the smartest dudes that I've ever heard talk about science. And I'll just let him explain why he thinks they're beneficial if you listen to his show. I bet you for the same reasons, but he uses words that are way bigger than the words that I know. Free sample pack with any purchase. These are the boxes. The one that I held up over here is the sparkling. These are the 16-ounce cans. You can get them delivered at a frequency that you want. This right here is going to send you 4 boxes to your house. That's a lot of salt. It's going to last you for a while. Here's some more of an explanation as to what the product actually does. All I can tell you is this. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a PhD. My last name's not Huberman. I'm a 48-year-old man doing my best to struggle through life. I exercise hard to try to keep the grip of gravity and age away. And when I don't supplement after training with Element, I feel like I'm going to die. When I do supplement, I feel like I'm going to die a little bit less. There's no magic in any of this, but man, the difference. Let's just say I'm glad that I met Rob Wolf, one of the co-founders, and he's way smarter than me and explained to me the benefits of this. And ever since then, it has been a daily staple. DrinkLMNT.com/clearedhot. Free sample pack with your first order. Go get some. Up your electrolyte game. Back to the show. God, maybe that's
I didn't even know that existed.
maybe that's a pretty good business model. We'll see if we can apply that for some other entities, of which I'm not even sure that would work, but okay.
But so even though they're self-funded, Doge impacted them like, instead of a scalpel, it was just like a scythe, somebody just came through.
Scythe, something like that, yeah.
And hacked a lot of things out, So like say you got linemen, I think at the plant, or not plant, at her offices or out of her office, I think there are 2 linemen that are directly, and I don't know what the numbers are, but we'll just say 2. They got rid of one of them. They fired one of the linemen. Guess what? You can't go out there with one lineman. They have to go out in pairs. And so now you've totally rendered, this office's capacity, even though they're at 50% manning, they can't do anything because they have to have that other person to do it.
Yeah.
They fired like the facilities manager. They haphazardly fired
and
people.
That's my issue with how it was executed.
Yeah.
Like in this rush to show this huge number up front, they were stepping over dimes to pick up pennies.
Yeah.
And how since have those people been rehired?
They did eventually put in an exemption for BPA and other entities like it, like the Tennessee Valley Authority or whatever, TVA. They're similar to BPA, but it's just...
Yeah, but when that guidance first comes down, you're so screwed if something happens.
Well, so here's the
time.
thing. You're making forward progress, all right? And that's just how these entities have to work. You keep moving forward or you die. And now all of a sudden they fired all these people, and whatever that entity is, and this happened not just at BPA, but like across so many different agencies. But life kept going, but now it's going at a more inefficient rate. And then even for the people that were able to rehire, they've lost so much ground and they have to go back and redo things. And so it ended up costing more money than it ever saved, at least for them.
And again, I really liked the idea.
I agree. We were in the military. We saw waste and abuse.
No, I never did. Not in the Navy.
Right.
It was, honestly, probably the smoothest, most leanest, efficient machine I've ever seen.
Yeah. You know what? Now that you say that out loud, I think about it and I'm like, yeah, the Air Force was too. We were really good about it. Yeah. Remember the freaking war on terror money.
Oh, that was amazing.
Did you guys do the same thing we did in the Air Force? Like at the end of the year, the fiscal year, like, we got all this money. Okay, every office gets a flat screen TV.
There was no way to run out of money as a supply rep because they would just here's an example.
I got so many headlamps over the years.
Of course, I still have them all. Yeah, I have bags full of bags.
Yeah. You get your guy that says, "Hey, come by and pick up your new knives, watches, headlamps, all this stuff." You're like, "I still have the 4 from before." They're like, but we can't get more stuff unless we get rid of this stuff. So come get it.
Like skydiving jumpsuits, custom skydiving jumpsuit, and you would go to get it approved, and the ops manager would say, "Well, if you were going to jump, so you're training for proficiency in jumping, yeah. Do you think there's a chance that you might jump in Afghanistan? Oh, for sure. Okay, we'll put it in the OEF Alpha bucket.
Totally. Absolutely.
So you can reverse engineer. I never bought a briefcase while I was in the military, but I bet you could have reversed. Where would you use the briefcase? Oh,
I'd carry my pubs to the helicopter.
yeah, sensitive documents for this Louis Vuitton briefcase, and they'd be like OEF Alpha bucket.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I don't know. Bucket is not the appropriate term. The Laurentian abyss.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure.
there was always a way.
Yeah.
There was always a way.
You know, or you look at contractors. Look at contractors or even, GS civilians.
Yeah.
There are people that I saw create a job for themselves, and they retire and immediately step into this job that didn't exist yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what are you going to be doing? Well, I'm going to do the job I just did. Well, what about the uniform that's going to replace you in that job?
And the head count, which was going to be the detailers are going to handle this.
Yeah. So there's obviously fraud, waste, and abuse out there. And if they had taken that seriously and actually gone through, like you said, with a scalpel, we'd be sitting in a much better spot right now. But they didn't.
Yeah.
They ham-fisted it and screwed it up. So they lost credibility right off the word go.
Yeah.
And so at that point, transparency doesn't exist. And so you question everything else they're doing. They could have done it so much better. And it's not to say it wasn't needed. It absolutely is needed.
I think it's still needed.
Yeah,
The problem
for
is
sure.
I think it's dead on the vine.
Yeah.
Actually, Michael, can you Google that? Is Doge still Doging? I don't even know what term you would use.
Maybe ask Big Balls. Do you got his number?
Oh, God. Didn't he get his ass beat?
I don't know. Did he really?
I think
there was another. There was
a
another
Doge employee who got his ass beat.
Yeah.
What was your Google search, Michael?
Doge still doing anything?
Is Doge still doging?
Yeah. What did it say?
There wasn't an AI summary, so I have to read.
Oh.
Heaven forbid.
Yeah. Do you need a mental health day?
Yeah, actually, can I have one, please?
You just got back from Japan and are wearing the same shirt you were wearing yesterday. You do not get a mental
I
health day.
didn't sweat and then it's clean.
This is what I have to deal with.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm typing in
People,
something
I'm
else.
trying to forge him into a weapon that society is not ready for, and he's just resisting me at every turn. Pull it up on the screen. We'll read it together. I feel like the agency still exists, but
I think it still exists, but
who knows what they're...
oh, well, the first sentence here is great. Whether the Department of Government Efficiency, known as Doge, is still finding waste is a subject of debate.
See, that's a transparency problem right there.
Yeah. And depends on the source. I am going to bet that means it depends on the source whether it leans left or right.
Yeah. Yeah. If you go to Fox News, Doge is doing amazing things.
Yeah, if you go to
if
CNN,
you go to
they're doing
MSNBC, they're the worst that's ever. I mean, and they're both off base, probably.
What bugs me about this is I think we desperately needed the spirit of Doge to happen and for it to look at every aspect of the government. And because the execution was as chunky as it was, I think it might be real hard getting that spun up again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's one of those you have to make good on your first shot.
Yeah.
And if you're close, then you can keep going. But the way it was executed was just so poor that you'll never get trust in that again. Across the aisle, everybody thinks that it was so poorly done that I don't know that you ever can recover it.
And meanwhile, the size, scope, and scale of the U.S. government is beyond personally what I don't think the framers and founders ever would have fathomed government that size or service in government for as long as people actually serve in the government. I don't think they would have been able to fathom that.
No. Which, full circle back to term limits. It's you.
What would it take to get those through? I don't think our system is tenable unless we can get that in there.
Well, it's just going to keep hardening people in these different camps
but then the government will shut down again because, God forbid, there is collaboration or one side is seen to have a victory over the other. Meanwhile,
and you just said it. One side seems to have a victory over the other.
That's literally what I feel like it comes down to.
What we should be saying, or where the focus should be, is on the people. Like this was a victory for the citizens of this country, not the left or the right.
Yeah,
this is a victory for Andy. This is a victory for Aaron, and his neighbors, and that's where we can make headway.
Well, I'm hearing people say too, "Oh, it's been 27 days and no change in my life," and I was thinking that too, but then it comes with an asterisk and wait a touch.
Yeah,
like 2 days ago, I was reading an article. Air traffic controllers missed their first full paycheck. Military is $8 billion a pay period, which, whatever, put that in the OEF alpha bucket. I bet it could sustain that.
But that $1 billionaire gave $130 million.
Perfect. And again, that's
fixed it.
You run the math on that. Yeah, that's way short of $8 billion.
A little bit.
Everyday people, if they're going to start being impacted. But meanwhile, the air traffic controllers, who people have no understanding the criticality of that role in just the number of flights per day and the number of people moving in commerce and you
shut flights down and you can shut our economy down.
I was going to say your overnight Amazon will be to you tomorrow if you order now, not if the airplanes aren't flying. But meanwhile, so they're still working, by the way, and I'm assuming they'll get paid at some point, but as well as I do, I mean, I think I spent 10 years in the military paycheck to paycheck. I don't know what it looks like for ATC, but if the military starts missing pay, these are going to have these cascading issues. And meanwhile, the people who refuse to work together are still getting their paychecks. And it makes me want to take a Molotov cocktail to the building that they work in. I'm not going to do that. That is not a threat in any way, shape, or form. I love you, NSA, who is listening in real time in this conversation.
He is not actually advocating
I am
for a Molotov
in no
cocktail.
way. I am saying inside, in my inside voice, which I will never allow outside or to govern my behavior.
Yeah.
It makes me
It's
want
a rhetorical point.
Yeah. It makes me want to say all of you are fired right now.
Yeah.
And we will the people of this country are primarying all of you.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're not one of the eligible candidates in this primary.
Yeah.
So
you have to
aside.
sit it out for the next 5 terms. You
Forever.
can be re-eligible.
Never. No.
Okay,
Negative.
I like that even more.
Because you know what? If you make them ineligible forever, or how about this? How about if we can't balance the budget of the government? Same thing. You are all fired. You're all fired.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this impossible problem of balancing the budget would become infinitely solvable right quick if we were to
collaborate and work together.
But they would force them
if you
to.
have the threat of losing your job,
somehow
they're going to find a way to work together.
Yes, they would.
Yeah.
Because they want their job.
And you're going to lose some good people in a system like that. But that is a worthwhile cause, I think. Because you're going to replace all the ones that got fired with a whole bunch of other people that are earnest and care.
Yeah.
Knowing, hey, I just saw that guy get fired for not doing his job. So I'm going to go talk to Andy, even though ideologically he may be on the other side of the aisle from me.
But we both seem to want our job.
But I don't want to get fired.
Yeah. And I wanted to serve the people who elected me in office the most.
Yeah. And that's what it should be about. It shouldn't be about, I don't want to get fired. It should be about, I want to make sure that grandma, is getting what she needs through Medicaid, Medicare. I want to make sure that the schools keep getting the funding that they need. I want to make sure that, we're funding the jobs that matter, because right now our elected representatives, they're not working. So do their jobs matter? Our country's functioning for now.
Yeah. And again, there's a finite amount of time where that will happen before it really impacts the average person. And I think when that impact comes, it'll be interesting. I also think I think there'll be 2 phases. The first phase is everybody just got fired and I want to keep my job, so I'm going to keep doing this. And once they realize that threat is real and actionable, then we'll start getting people in there who actually are there for the right reasons, because they know I can't make a career of this. because I'm limited.
Because
by
there
what-
are term limits.
Yeah, and I want to do it's demonstrable that if I don't do a good job, I'm out. So I want to do a good job for the right reasons. But that starts with, you might have to lop off a few heads.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. I think it's long past time that the people of the country hold our elected representatives accountable. And I read this study a long time ago, and I wish I could remember the details of it, but the gist of it basically was you could definitely see all the problems that are going on in Congress and how they needed to be voted out, except for your specific rep. And it was like this universal thing. Everybody thought the exact same
Yes.
thing. Like, oh man, yeah, those dudes are all messed up. They all have problems.
Not our guy, though.
But not our guy.
Yeah.
Our guy, I like him, and I want to see him stick around.
That's why it has to apply to everybody.
Exactly.
So what was the moment where you realized you were going to do it? You said somebody approached you, talked to you about it. I'm assuming there was some conversation with your wife.
Yeah, it was at home talking with my wife. It was exactly what I was talking about. I have an opportunity to do something, win or lose. I can shake things up. I can highlight some of the problems throughout this. And, if I lose, maybe you're following, you're in the wings waiting. And
Me?
you're like,
Oh, you better be pointing at
I'm
somebody else.
I'm just saying, like, rhetorically.
I was going to say, is there somebody behind me in this curtain you're pointing at?
Say, Mike,
Michelle?
Michelle, he's waiting in the wings.
Are you even old enough to be in Congress? How old do you have to be in
I don't
Congress?
think so.
Congress, I think you can be really young. I think there's probably a legal adult, but
Yeah. I would not trust him to be an elected
I
representative.
don't trust myself to be.
He would be,
representative.
he's a lobbyist wet dream.
oh yeah.
Oh, God. He would
hate
have
lobbyists.
Pushover.
he would
Whatever you say, sir.
cocktail parties. He
Yeah.
would just go out to dinner and then just vote on
Yeah,
just
I
obscure.
love lobbyists so much.
I'm saying you're malleable. I'm not saying you love lobbyists.
I hate lobbyists.
Have you ever met one?
No, he's
No,
proven
but I
how
already
malleable
hate
he
them.
is.
Yeah, they're kind of the worst, right?
It's legalized bribery.
Why do you have to define it in technical terms like that? That makes it so people can understand and
It's
therefore they
true.
wouldn't like it.
We want to keep things convoluted and opaque. So
That'd be
that-
a great law.
Yeah.
Change the vernacular so lobbying has to be called legal bribery.
oh man, that is good.
We'll call that say the quiet part out loud bill. And we go through
I'm
this.
gonna write that legislation, and when we pass it, you're gonna come out.
Oh, I would love
and we're
to.
gonna
Yes.
have a big signing party.
Can you imagine that though? Because a lot of it is terms people don't understand. They talk around things. It would literally be the quiet part out loud. And yeah, lobbyists, you guys are it's legal paid bribery.
100%.
Yeah, which of course doesn't happen in the Capitol building. It happens across the street.
Yeah.
Where the bank of phones are, and we're all. It is insane.
Yeah.
So, but you talked.
So
with
it
your
was
wife?
it was that it was just that we came to the conclusion that we care, and service has been something that's important for me. And once I press pause on the teaching thing, I was kind of looking for the next thing, the opportunity. Like if I were king for a day, the job I would give myself would be teaching leadership, team development, and critical thinking at the university level.
That would be an amazing course.
Creating people, and I would name it How to Work with People and Not Be a Douche. That would be the name of the course.
I would go to that course. That would be a
Because-
page turner and an eye opener.
Yeah, because that's the age, and we don't do enough of it. That's the age where these people are now going to start walking out into the real world. They're not under, mom and dad's protective wings anymore, or you know what I mean.
Yep.
But they need to be able to read the headlines and see what's in between the lines. They need to be able to read it and see, 2 and 3 steps down the road, how is this going to impact my life? How is this going to impact my future children's lives or my communities, And since I'm not king for a day and I can't just give myself a job at the university level teaching, this is an opportunity I have to make real impact, and I can't live with I couldn't live with myself if I was given an opportunity to do something and I didn't take it. You sat downrange and probably had moments where you could step out of cover and go help somebody, and you know that it's going to make your life potentially a little more miserable for the next moment, potentially even worse. But you did it anyway because you felt that you were compelled to serve. You were compelled to go help out your teammate.
Yeah.
And I see that as the same thing as right now. I have an opportunity. If I don't take it, it's going to be real hard to stomach myself.
Do you think you will go back to teaching if it doesn't work out? You think you'll finish that track you're on?
I don't know. I think I'd get in trouble with parents.
There's a 100% chance you're going to get in trouble with parents.
Because like the kids, I think, you asked how old I felt. I do really well with teenagers. I get along with them.
Yeah, we're mostly the same age.
Yeah. But they respect me, and, I'm able to, I've worked in my church with teenagers, pretty much my whole life. And I've always been able to do well with, getting my message across and helping them see what they're supposed to be doing, things like that. The parents are another story. I rarely blame poorly behaving kids. I usually pin it on the parents. It's almost always, in my opinion, the parents are the reason, whether it's because of, negligence or, whatever. You can name a million different reasons probably. Kids aren't fully developed, and so they're going to make stupid decisions, and they need guidance from parents.
And they mirror the examples they have in front of them too.
Yeah. So even with kids that are kind of punks in the classroom, I can work with that. But when the parents come in and, want to say that their kid is somehow an angel, or they don't want to be involved, there's so many reasons I would get in trouble with parents, because it would be tough for me to sit across the desk from them and be like, you're screwing this up by the numbers, or it'd be tough for me not to say that.
Yeah. I've never understood the theory of parents coming in and saying my children are angels.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's just my kids, because when I go in, I go, tell me everything.
Yeah.
More than likely, it's my fault. Give me the greatest hits. And then when they tell me what my children have done, I go,
I can see that.
like, yeah, that's my bad.
Yeah.
That word that
Yeah.
my daughter used in the reading circle when she was 8. Yeah, that's my bad. I use that word sometimes.
See, for me, it's not going to be language. Nobody believes me when I tell them this. I haven't cussed since the summer before my freshman year in high school.
How do you remember that?
Because it was very impactful. We had just moved, and we were waiting for our house to actually be finished. They were doing something, so we were in an apartment complex. My dad got transferred, and there was this girl. I realize now she was probably just flirting like an idiot. But she was being super annoying, and I may have told her that if she didn't get out of my way, I was going to slap the out of her. And I was so mad at myself afterwards. I was so angry with myself after I did that. I was like, no more. I'm not doing that ever again. And it sucks because the only reason I don't cuss now is the streak. Not because I can't appreciate the utility of a really good 4-letter word at the appropriate time.
You could always start again.
I know, but
you need to end
How long is that? That's 32-year streak. I have a 32-year streak.
Yeah, so you got to end it while you still have time to redo it.
to restart it?
Yeah,
and then,
you have to restart it.
Let's see, but then how long do I get to do it before I have to restart in order to capture 32 years again?
I don't know.
Yeah, so now you were talking math, so it's easier to just not do it.
Yeah. So when's the election?
Not till November of next year. So
what's your plan between now and then? I mean, obviously doing stuff like this helps gets the message out, but I mean, the core tenets of your campaign, what are you going to go with?
So the first thing, and we've talked about it a little bit, the first thing that I really, really care about is bringing the temperature down around all the rhetoric. is getting people to realize that thing where I was talking about, we're all here in the center and we all care about the same basic things. There are distractions here and there, and it's not to say that those distractions can't be important, because they are. You know, you don't want to dismiss other people's things that are very important to other people. But when we're talking about, you know, a country with 340 million people, we need to get after the thing that affects the bulk of those people. You know, so bring the temperature down so that we can have common sense conversations and find that common ground again. You know, so healthcare, housing, and a living wage, or being able to make a living on, you know, regular wages. Mm-hmm. It kills me when I hear a certain generation talking about, well, you know, I had a minimum wage job when I was your age, and I bought a house and I made things work. And I was like, well, we live in a very different time.
What generation can say that, though?
The whole baby boomers.
Is that our parents?
Boomers. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like my dad's a liar. He said he just makes stuff up.
Yeah.
I got paid with walnuts and I bought a Porsche.
Yeah.
What did you just say, old man?
I bought that car with a bushel of apples.
The first house I bought was $7.
Yeah.
And it's like, Dad, that is not true.
You know what the median house cost or, you know, price is in Spokane?
Right, currently?
Yeah.
Oh, don't tell me.
I mean, you probably not gonna. But
$750.
I know that's crazy. I probably should have said it with a little less excitement so it go so higher off the bat. $450,000. So the house that we bought in 2017 in Spokane, I think I paid $260,000. It's currently valued, and I can tell you that this is demonstrably bogus, because it's the same house and I've made improvements to it, but not $220,000 worth of improvements.
Yeah.
It's worth $470,000 right now. Yeah. And that's complete BS.
So what do you think? What's your theory on wages?
So Washington State's actually really freaking good. The minimum minimum wage in Washington State is like $16.60 something. You know, that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty good.
What is it in Montana, Michael?
I think it's still $7.25.
So it's federal.
We are 100% adjusting your pay more towards that. Let's just go ahead and Google what your pay starts at on Monday.
You should have said higher.
Yeah, it's actually $10.55.
Okay, $10.55. Yes. Okay. Do me a favor. Google what's the median cost of housing in Kalispell, Montana. Let's guess. I'm going to guess it's not much difference. And $10.50 an hour, or whatever that was, does not equate to getting a $450,000 home.
No.
Regardless if you work.
Yeah, because think about it, you got to have 10% down.
$695.
Holy.
$695?
Yeah. Dude, COVID was
crazy.
So I moved here from California. We moved back. God, I made some really poorly timed purchases, like a house. In 2008. I swear, this may not be true, but I just feel like in my heart it is. It was the day before the trap door opened.
We PCS back from Okinawa to Vegas in 2008. We got pre-approved for a loan so we could buy a house when we got there, and then everything took a dump, and we were like, I guess we're not buying a house.
So we bought, immediately saw 40% of our equity disappear like that. Rented that house for 10 years, finally sold it, a wash.
Really?
Yeah.
After 10 years.
I think I might have paid $10,000. I was just like, can we
I just want to be done.
Offload this rental property.
Yeah.
It was insane. And then though I've been in California and I saw the housing boom and what happened in the housing boom in California where, I think the average is 1.5 to maybe 3% per year on average increase in value of the home. Generally more towards the 1.5 than to the 3. People were going up 20%, 30%.
Yeah.
And somehow that seemed reasonable. So when this started happening in COVID, because people were fleeing California for reasons of their own design, and the real estate market here, it was tripping people out because they hadn't seen it. And I just thought back, oh, I've seen this before. House comes onto the market, multiple offers, day that it lists, 20,000 over, 30,000 over, 40,000 over, 50,000 over. Real estate agents in cars in lines with, a family writing handwritten letters. This is what your house would mean to us. And so it was just Kalispell prices and through the roof. And they're still like that right now. We pay the people at the coffee shop substantially more than the minimum wage, even on their opening. Plus they get tips on top of that. And I don't even think that they would be able to afford to buy a house. Now, having said that,
What did you say, $695?
$695.
Yeah,
but having said
insane.
that, though, I don't know. I mean, a coffee shop job for most people it's going to be a phase of your life. It's going to be transitory. And I talk with
in general,
I talk with our manager about this. Like, listen, we're going to have churn because we're mostly going to get people who are going to work seasonally. They're probably going to be between 17 to mid to late 20s, maybe. We do have some people that come back later in life because they just want something to do. I'm all about it. But also, if you work in a coffee shop, don't be shocked if you can't buy a home.
Yeah. No, expectation management is very important.
Not every job is going
That's
to...
why I need to teach that critical thinking class in college.
Yeah.
But yeah, expectation management is super important, like in everything we do.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's tough to say I want to work at McDonald's for the rest of my life and be able to afford a home.
2 + 2 doesn't equal 4 on that.
No.
I'm sorry, it doesn't.
But that also doesn't change that. It doesn't mean that it shouldn't be possible, I guess. Right now, it is not possible.
Well, there's different types of jobs.
No, I agree. There are starter jobs. There are, you know, but some people just are never going to be able to get jobs other than those starter jobs. And that doesn't mean they should be disqualified from being able to live the American dream.
Well, median doesn't mean all.
Yeah.
There are you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You may not be able to buy the 3.2 2,500 square foot with your own, you know, garage and yard you're not going to mow because you're irresponsible, you little bastards. Talking about my own children here.
I couldn't get mine to mow the lawn either.
I love mowing the lawn.
I hate it, but I think it's because of my dad growing up. Like
Do you enjoy vacuuming?
I do.
One of my favorite activities.
I love vacuuming.
I have had an argument with my wife because she robbed me of the opportunity to vacuum our floor before I came home. Not like
I don't know why. It's something that
it's amazing.
I'll throw a podcast in, or just some like instrumental kind of music. And,
I think it's because I
just
can
go
see
into
the progress.
veg. Yeah, exactly. I love seeing the lines. I love seeing the lines, and now all the vacuums are like the clear plastic container, and I love watching that sucker fill up. And we have a German Shedder.
Yeah,
I said that right. You know, German Shedder, not Shepherd. And oh my gosh, like, you know, I could vacuum every single day and pull a corgi out of there.
Yeah, my dad has a black lab that if he even drives by, I feel like I can fill up one of the containers. So when you're thinking about wages, what are your thoughts? Increasing minimum wage?
I think the federal minimum wage needs to go up. And there's been, again, I don't have the numbers, you know, so memorized so that I can just spout everything off and be awesome like that. But they have had studies show that increasing the minimum wage does not put undue burdens on the corporations or the people. In fact, it does a lot of other things that are really good for the economy. Because now you've given spending power to those people that they didn't have before, and they might be able to afford healthcare that they couldn't afford before.
I think it depends on the increase. I mean, if you listen to California, it should be $30 minimum wage. I'm like, listen, guys, I'll serve you a $19 latte if you want, which is what it would take
to get $30
to get a $30 minimum wage, which nobody would come through the door, which means I would lay off everybody.
And what's $25 an hour is like $50,000 a year.
Well, it would depend on how many hours for a full-time.
For a full-time job, I think if you're working 40 hours a week, $25 an hour, I think it works out to something like $50,000 a year. That's not awesome, but that's a livable wage. But I don't, again, I'm not smart enough on this stuff, and I do agree with you that there are phases of jobs that you go through in your
There's
life.
also phases of life.
Yeah, and the
When
high
I
school
joined
kid,
the
the high
military,
school
yeah.
kid should not be making $50,000 a year or $25,000 a
Yep.
year because they're working 20 hours a week because they're a high school kid.
I mean, Michael, can you do me a favor and pull up the military pay chart, please? 2025. Let's look at.
I was paycheck to paycheck as a second lieutenant.
Oh hell yeah! I actually
It's-
think people should spend about a decade living like that,
yeah.
just so you can have a really deeply ingrained sense of anxiety, pessimism, fear. Okay, let's see here. E2 over 12. Well, go down. Get out of here. Get out of here. Where's under? Hold on. Scroll up, maybe perhaps up.
Okay.
Here we are.
Two
Yes. Okay. Is an E1 coming into the military? You're going to make $2,319 a month. Now, let me tell you, this doesn't include tax.
No.
So that's also going to be cut in half. So you're looking at about, what are we talking about here?
If you're cut in half,
Yeah.
$2,400.
$1,200 a check.
Yeah,
Less
$1,200
tax.
a check, so you're making $2,400 a month.
Yeah, you're going to make about $1,000 every 2 weeks. So yeah, that's also 50 grand.
But you also take into account the fact that they get housing and
Is that what we're calling the barracks?
sorry, yeah, for that. I was thinking, I was going in my mind.
Yeah, you're
It's
talking
E1,
BAH.
E1, not O1.
Point being, I mean, that's about 50 grand a year right there
Yeah.
too. Actually, that's nowhere near 50 grand.
No,
2,300 a month.
$2,400 a year. If you're
2,400 times
take home-
12. Yeah, it's going to be about 28,000
Yeah.
a year.
Yeah.
As an E1 coming into the military. Don't worry though, because one day you'll become an E2, and you will go from 2319 to 2599, and your life will be better because what you'll do is go to a car dealership within walking
spend all of
distance
that.
from the front gate, and you'll get a Mustang
Yeah.
on a 20% interest rate, which payment will be $2,000 a month.
or a Jeep. You're gonna get a Jeep and jack it up and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's and again, so here, I mean, these are 18-year-olds. These are federal employees.
Yeah.
And first time when you join the military, you are going to be making $28,000 a year base pay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it builds over time. Like, let's say when you've been in for 10. Not that you could be an E1 over 10, man. You're having a horrible trajectory.
Yeah, you suck.
You'll be at, I'll say you're at E5, E6. We'll be super conservative. More likely you'd be
Yeah.
an E7, but you're talking $4,500 a month, and at that point you're probably going to have BAH, BAS. You're going to have some specialty pays.
Yep.
Depending on the Navy, you might have so.
You're making it.
Yeah,
You're getting by.
You're over.
You're not even just making it. You're comfortable-ish.
Yeah, you're at 60 grand a year base pay plus any of your additional pays on top of that. You're
Yeah.
probably getting close to, with those extra pays, I would say 6 figures.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's a reason charts look like that.
I agree.
You know?
So the wage, I'll go back to what I said earlier. I'm not the smartest person in the room. And I will surround myself, though, with the people that do have the data and the statistics to be able to make a smart call on it. I think at the end of the day, though, it goes back to simplifying the tax code. You know, putting more money in people's pockets
Yeah.
that need it. You know, and that is going to do, I think, a lot more for people than giving them an artificially huge pay raise that isn't sustainable.
Yeah. I mean, again, I like the concept of a flat tax. And again, to use 10% as,
No, I
and,
see what you're saying.
and you could, there's no way, and it would need to be, there's no way to take deductions to reduce it from the 10. So if you're a billionaire, yeah, it's 10%. And if you're a multimillionaire, it's 10%. Whatever, you're making $1 million, it's just, that's what it is across the board. But that's what it's going to be. I don't think that number would prohibit people from still trying to make as much money as possible, because I think that number is palatable. But that's going to net you probably more than people who are making a tremendous amount that can play inside of the tax code to take their taxable income to zero, which I don't fault them for doing.
If the rules are the way, one of the things that Trump said in a debate, I think it was with
was with Hillary.
Hillary Clinton.
I know what you're talking about.
Like, you can't fault the man's logic on that.
Yeah, she tried to throw that at him, and he said,
He's like,
all of your donors, all of your rich donors are doing exactly the same thing.
Like, what's the saying? Don't hate the player.
Yeah.
Hate the game.
You're going to tell me the Clintons aren't taking deductions of any kind? Yeah. I will say this. Love or hate Trump, that man is a savage. Hillary Clinton tweeted out about him destroying a portion of the East Wing to build a ballroom.
Oh, yeah.
And he responded with, I may just name it the Monica Lewinsky Ballroom.
Are you serious?
Absolute savage. Again,
don't you miss the days? Like, there are times when that's refreshing, having somebody who says it like he sees it.
Yeah.
But don't you miss the days also when, they were a little bit professional, when they were a little bit classy? You look at
almost as if they were statesmen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And again, maybe that's just that is, to me, I guess that is comical. I also understand how another country.
The guy is a master troll. He is a master,
which I just learned
troll.
means like God tier, right? It's like S and then the other ones. That was a recent addition to my vernacular.
Yeah.
But also other countries looking at this thinking, what? Did the president of the United States, is he really taking a dig back in the 90s to old Bill?
Yeah.
And yes, he is.
Yeah.
And
have you looked at the numbers on that? 300 million for 90,000 square foot. Have you looked at that?
I haven't looked at the numbers, but I do know that it is privately funded, which I don't know if I'm okay with that.
I don't. Yeah. So this
I
is
hear
the reason. The reason
I hear Michael
ask,
tippy tapping.
Yeah,
away.
yeah, I heard it. The reason I brought it up is because like 90,000 square feet, and again, I'm not a math.
But if you cut 90,000 by 300 mil,
it works out to like $3,300 a square foot or something crazy like that.
That's what I would like to sell a house for.
So that's insane. So this is not a ballroom. There is something going on in that bunker control room, whatever.
I don't think
I forget what it's called.
People see government and they take wherever the comma currently is and they move it.
Yeah.
I actually think in many ways. What did you find, Michael?
Yeah, 300 million.
Is it being privately funded?
Says it. Yeah, I saw they put a list out, and it's like Apple, Meta,
so
Amazon.
Oh yeah.
Well, fortunately, none of them would have any
huge.
vested interest in policy,
Right?
Palantir, which is really
Nice.
Palantir.
Nice, which is
Reassuring.
the robot overlord we're all good.
Yeah.
It's not going to be Skynet becoming self-aware. It'll be
There you go.
Palantir. Holy cow. Listen.
What did you call it? Legalized
bribery. Yeah.
Man.
T-Mobile.
Scroll down a little bit. What?
Oh, it
okay.
keeps going.
Holy cow.
Who the hell
Tyler,
is Konstantin
Did Winklevi?
Sokolov?
No, yeah, that's right.
He's one of the. I only know him from The Social Network,
Yeah, that's how I know.
which
it.
I watch.
Somebody read that
Yeah.
off to me, and I was like, "Oh wait, those are the two dudes who helped make Facebook."
I watched that movie as a documentary. Okay, so the Winklevi are both on here. They were early into Bitcoin too. I think they've made probably as much, if not more, money in the Bitcoin world. Lutnick family. Some of the names. What do we got here? Betty World Johnson Foundation. So there's some foundations. T-Mobile, go up. Union Pacific Railroad, okay. Energy, some tech, HP, Hard Rock International. Is that the gaming? Keep going up.
I'm
Comcast.
really curious what Ripple is.
Oh, I feel like I know. What is Ripple, Michael? Will you look that up?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know how I feel about that.
Financial infrastructure and blockchain technology.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay. I'm not a fan of it. I mean,
Would you rather have taxpayers pay
I
for
guess
it?
that's where I was
Yeah.
going. At least it's not taxpayers doing
Yeah.
it. And I don't know enough about the details to speak educatedly on this.
I don't either.
So I just know that visceral, that gut feeling is like, this seems off. This seems weird.
Yeah.
It seems weird. And the fact that a 90,000, I mean, it's going to dwarf the White House.
Yeah. The White House is really tiny, actually.
It is. But like,
Yeah.
it's bigger than like the West Wing and the White House combined almost. It's huge.
Yeah, I've seen where it's going to go. It's funny. You know, most movies they confuse or they use the Capitol building instead of the White House.
Yeah.
Yeah, many people, if shown the picture of the Capitol building, would think it is the White House because of how many movies it's been in.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, the White House is not big.
It's pretty small.
Yeah, Capitol building, bigger.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Super cool.
Incredible artwork inside of the dome of that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. We went there and they did a tour. They let us climb the inside of the dome and get up on top.
Was this on January 6th?
I can't speak publicly yet about that because statute of limitations.
Your agreement strictly forbids you from.
No, it was 100% not on January 6th. I am not known to participate in things of that nature, but it was really cool because there's the outside. You're basically near the top of the dome on the outside. What a great view down the mall.
On the outside?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, there's a small section that is on the outside,
Okay.
but yeah, it's there's actually two domes. There's an inner dome and an outer dome.
Yeah.
So the staircase is walking up in between. It was really, really cool.
Spent a lot of time in Europe. I did an exchange with the French Air Force for 3 years, which was awesome.
Were you flying their stuff?
Yeah.
What do they fly?
EC-725. So they have one squadron that does
Will you look
combat.
that up, Michael? I want to see a picture of that.
It's like the most modern version of a Puma.
Okay. I don't even know what a Puma is. Puma to me is a cat.
Yeah. They're all cats. Caracal is the EC-725 is the Caracal.
I don't know. That doesn't look as cool.
No, Pavox way cooler.
Yeah.
But that was a glass cockpit. That was a modern helicopter.
3 engines or 2?
2.
You know what's? I didn't realize the 53s had 3 engines. Some did.
Not all of them. Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm like, what is? Oh, that's just another turbine engine there.
Yep. So we had, and I think it was that same deployment I told you about where we went through 12 engines.
Yeah.
We were on Bastion, and we had just finished.
I think it was a exhaust pipe coming at the side of that thing.
Oh yeah. Well, they have what do you call it? HERS on the 60. We call it the HERS, but it's the hover infrared suppression system. So you don't just have this big plume for every seeker out there.
Oh, that's not fair.
So they have something that will mask the exhaust. Same with the 60.
What is the closest you've ever come to dying in a helicopter?
Oh. I don't know.
Pick one. What's the dumbest mistake you've ever made flying a helicopter? I ask all helicopter pilots this because I'm trying not to die doing dumb stuff.
Don't do many air shows for people.
Oh, I'm never doing an air show.
Yeah, don't do many air shows for people. I'll say the time that I probably was closest to death, and it wasn't from somebody shooting at. Well, every time you do a brownout landing,
Yeah.
those suck.
Do you just switch over to gauges at some point?
In the 60, we've got the
Attitude indicator?
attitude indicator, but also you can click this little button and it'll bring a little needle over, which shows your drift.
Okay.
And so when you're on approach, you are looking a little outside and inside, making sure you're not drifting. And you have parameters, a descent rate you don't want to go higher than, speeds you don't want to go higher than. And if you nail that, the landing gear on the 60 is good enough that you can just slam that in. You can just ride that sucker all the way into the ground. If you have a little bit of drift, you potentially run into dynamic rollover.
Not a great video to watch on Instagram. There's plenty.
No, yeah, it's not awesome. We were coming into this LZ near Bastion, in Marja. I can't remember the name of it. Tiny LZ, maybe twice this room, but the rotors, you could get the rotor disc in there. It's big enough for the rotor disc. And the way the winds were set up, we're coming in from the southeast, landing northwest. And, when you're doing a brownout landing, your gunners are like the only way you live, because you can lose sight anywhere from 10 feet before you touch down to 100
By
feet.
that you mean they're talking to you?
Yeah, they're talking to you. They're telling you dust is at the tail, or dust is kicking up, dust is at the tail, dust is at the halfway up the boom, dust is at the cabin, dust is at the gunner's windows, and then you go. We call it ping pong. You're completely engulfed by the dust, and we were at that point, and we were just, the nose of the helicopter is just sticking out of this dust cloud. And then all of a sudden my gunner on the right side says, stop down. And just that tiny input of the collective to arrest the descent was enough for the dust cloud to just completely go forward. And now we're totally lost. No idea. And I was stupid. I wasn't, I was nailing the approach. So I was like, this is good. I can look at the ground all the way to where we were landing.
Oh, because you should be a little bit ahead of the dust.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And but there was an MRAP parked in the LZ, and those things are like freaking 15 feet tall by themselves, and they got a 20-foot whip antenna.
Oh, that's 100% gonna hit the rotors.
And we were about to hit that, and so he tells me to stop down. Dust cloud kicks us out. Well, we're below the tree level at this point, surrounding this LZ, and I totally got lost in there, because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to. I wasn't on the instruments like I should have been. So as soon as that dust cloud hit us, because I was cocky and thinking, everything's going great. Excuse me. When we came out of that dust cloud, just dumb luck. There was one gap in the trees, and only wide enough for a helicopter, for a 60 to go through at about 30 degrees of bank. And dumb luck, I happened to hit that gap. And so we came back around, and I landed with a tailwind instead, coming over the trees, because that way at least the wind is pushing that dust cloud behind us.
Yeah.
Tailwind, but there wasn't, it worked because the trees were there, and so it was kind of blocking that tailwind.
Yes, especially got below it, yeah.
Yeah. But, the Apaches we were working with, it was the Brits. Ugly was their call sign. As soon as we touched down, he's like, mate, I'm glad that was you, not me. Because it was terrifying. It was one of those moments where you're just like, okay, somebody's watching over me, because I should have died. We should have hit those trees. Because here's the LZ right here, and the gap is like this. So my approach is taking me this way. I get so jacked up in that cloud, somehow
You drifted right to the proper configuration.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not one I think you should attempt to repeat.
No, it sucked. It was, but in Afghanistan, you get that moon dust, that super fine moon dust, and so
it's like ash.
Yeah, you lose sight of the LZ real early, and you
Did
just
the engines spool down at all when they started ingesting that?
You can get compressor stalls.
Okay,
but I've never seen the,
because that stuff is going everywhere, to include right through those
Oh
turbines.
yeah, no, we kept little paintbrushes in the cockpit
to brush off your gauges.
to brush everything off.
Yeah, I mean that's not a bad idea. That's
We started flying with the doors off, because when it get really bad, you could still lean out the window and look straight down and see the ground. So you could at least tell, and that's how the gunners kept us alive, because the gunners would tell you if you're drifting, because they're, even when we're in that dust cloud, they're looking straight down, and they can tell if we're drifting left or right.
Yeah.
And that's when you go around if you're drifting.
Man. You ever had any major mechanical issues in a bird?
We had basically lost an engine coming back from, I can't remember where it was. It was southeast of Kabul.
Can a hawk fly on one? At least back to the airfield?
At those altitudes, we happened to be, because we were coming over a mountain range.
Yeah.
And got an engine chip light.
Yep.
So basically I had to shut that engine down.
It should have a drift down altitude, right, where it would stabilize at?
Not up near Bagram.
Oh, really?
It was high enough that we were on a descent,
Okay.
whether we wanted to be or not. But we were high enough coming off of the mountains that
Had some altitude.
we just, I basically rolled that sucker on at the approach end of the runway, not lucky because we flew it the right way. You know, you're trained to do that. But we just, dumb luck as far as we happen to have enough altitude, because we normally fly around in freaking treetops.
Yeah. Is there, at a lower altitude around sea level, can it maintain or climb on a single engine? Load dependent, obviously. If it was
Load dependent. If
Yeah.
you pull out the ox tanks,
Yeah.
I bet you could.
Okay.
Because you can fly around at 14.
Okay.
But it's going to be a slow. Like we had, I wish I could remember the names of all the fobs, but you go into so many different places. We had to pick this guy up who was all shot up. And we got into the LZ or the fob easy, because we were low on gas by that point. But we had to get gas to get back. So we're at the FARP.
Changes things.
Yeah. So, but you
Like
take
his
on
torque pole is a little bit heavier than when we came in.
you take on only what you have to.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, we were at a 1 foot hover, just so we could build up airspeed. So you start getting outside of that dirty air.
Yeah.
And get in front of the burble, and
Yeah.
now you can slowly start climbing. And that's the thing where you're like, all right, see those two antennas on the far side of the fob? We're shooting for in between those antennas, and halfway between here and there is going to be our go no go point. And so you are just, you're shooting for the field goal, and that kind of happened. That kind of thing happened all the time because we were a fat pig of a helicopter. And trying to do the things that once you're flying, it's great, but getting out of those LZs, especially around Bagram and J-Bad and all that stuff, you're real high altitudes.
Yeah.
We went to Mazar-e Sharif from Bagram one time, and you're at 13,000 feet, but 13,000 feet MSL, but you're at like 50 feet AGL. Yeah. And there is no room for error. You put like an angle, like a degree of bank in, and it's like, hey, stop descent or stop down.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm trying.
Yeah. We are going down.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily the mountain is also descending because that's what we'll do.
I want no part of any of that. You guys can have that.
No, it was awesome. It was fun. With these guys, man, I'm sure you've worked with some partners before.
Yep.
These dudes are, in 2008, I forgot about this. We were at Bagram, and my first couple of deployments, we were doing Kazovac for the Army, so
That's rough.
Low Loom or hot LZs, we got the mission. And, 2008, I think it was August or September. And we get a call that a French unit got ambushed on this ridge line on the valley just to the east of Bagram. So you got Bagram, there's a mountain range that's right there.
Yep.
I can't remember the name of the valley on the other side, but just on the immediate other side of that mountain range, there was a French unit getting lit up, just totally getting destroyed. And I guess it's just going really badly. And so they launch us. We get out there and nobody can talk to anybody. There's an A-10, but there's like a 1,000-foot deck. And so this guy can't see anything. He's like, look, we think it's over there. And we're like, all right, cool. And then, so we're kind of just orbiting, which is a great thing to do in an area where there are insurgents.
Yeah.
It's super fun, good feeling. And we're flying around, and this Kiowa shows up out of nowhere. Comes up on the general channel, and he's like, "Hey, you guys looking for the LZ?" And we're like,
Funny
"Sure,
enough, yes."
Yeah." And he's like, "All right, follow me." So we fall in on this dude's 6, and it was like something out of the movies, man. These Kiowas are amazing.
Yeah.
He is silhouetted, in front of us because of the firefight going on, and I kid you not. I see this as we're flying right up this dude's 6. I see somebody lean out of the helicopter, out of a movie, pop a smoke, and chuck it into the LZ. He's like, "There's your LZ," and then he peels off to the left, and he's like, "Have a good one."
Never.
I look over, the other pilot, and we're like, "Did we just see that? Did that really just happen?" These dudes are freaking bad, eh?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So then we're flying in. And we're on low final, like short final, and this pops up right in front of us and lands in front of us. And we're like, okay, what's going on? So these jokers, not talking to anybody, not just doing their own thing. They're not up on any frequencies that we can talk to them on.
We call it whisper mode.
Yeah, they were on whisper mode for sure. They just land, and we're like, all right, well, does anybody know what's going on? And Chalk 2, the pilot. I don't want to throw names out there because he's awesome, but we're like 45 minutes into this flight, and he's like, hey, I speak French. You guys think, should I try to talk to him?
No, definitely don't.
We're like, dude.
Definitely don't try to communicate with them in their primary language.
30 minutes ago, that would have been good information. It's really good information still, but,
yeah.
Where were you 30 minutes ago, man?
Yeah.
So we go in there, and we're picking up all these French dudes that are just jacked up. And there's a little French fob in Kabul. And so we're dropping these guys off in there, and they're in their version of an MRAP, and they're just rolling into the LZ on whisper mode. We're sitting in the LZ, rotor spinning, and there's a dude sitting out of the hatch on the top of this truck, which happens to be the perfect height to lose your head. And they're just droning right at the helicopter. So we start flashing the landing light, and you see this guy. We almost pulled pitch. Yeah. Because this guy, he's going to lose his head, but he ducks down into the truck at the last second. The truck veers off to the left, but these dudes were crazy. And then 3 years later, when I go on the French exchange, it's this unit.
What was their version of that story?
They're national heroes. I'm not even joking. They have, you can get pennants for your unit. They have their version of the presidential unit citation.
Did you get to wear a beret while you were with that unit?
No.
It's a missed opportunity.
No.
Missed opportunity.
They wouldn't even let me wear their flight suit.
That's rude.
Which is fine, though, actually, because I put it on. It was like the skinny jeans version of a flight suit.
Of course it was.
If you're wearing a flight suit, it's because it's comfortable and baggy, and it's like pajamas.
I bet it had a pocket just for cigarettes.
Yeah. But yeah, their flight suits sucked. I hate them.
Well, they're tailored.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, U.S. flight suits are just a bag of sweat to death, but you probably won't burn because they're Nomex.
They're Nomex. The flight suit is the most bizarre thing because in the dead of summer, it's the hottest thing in the world.
This is what I fly in.
And in the winter, it is the coldest thing in the world. Like all the wind goes right through that thing. But
it's designed to, for 1 second, prevent you from burning.
Yeah.
And then provide no thermal protection of any kind.
Yeah. It's like the poopy suit when we had to fly over water.
Yes.
All it served
the
was
Mustang suit.
Yeah. All it's going to do is prolong the suffering just a little bit because, it's not going to keep you alive for long enough for anyone to get to you wherever you are.
Yeah. You driving back tonight?
It depends.
Well, we've been at it for 2.5 hours, so I can get you back on the road.
I'm fine with whatever works for you, man.
Well,
I wanted to ask you, do you remember a Mitch Galloway? You trained him, Crow. You trained him when he was doing Green Team.
Probably out in Florida. Yeah. Okay.
When I told him he worked for me when we were out at the survival school.
Nice. Yeah, I was teaching skydiving out there for a bit, and we would catch them. It was like, I don't know what they would call it, but a little bit of refinement in their jump.
He called it. I don't know then.
Yeah.
But, yeah. He had good things to say.
I must have had a good day. I've had some bad ones. I did my best.
No, he said it was cool. He said you're a good dude.
So give me the elevator pitch. Somebody listening to this, you meet somebody. What's your pitch?
My pitch is that things need to change. Things are, the status quo doesn't work. And if we can't tone things down so that we can have the conversations that we need to have and talk about the actual real problems that people are facing every single day, then nothing is going to change. If we can't hold our elected representatives accountable for their inaction, nothing's going to change. So I want to be able to have the conversations again without it turning into a thing where you're my enemy just because we don't agree on everything. You know, we have a lot more in common than we don't. So we have the opportunity to get after the things that everybody cares about right now, which is healthcare, housing, and just making a living without being paycheck to paycheck. You know, and those are things that we can really get after if we stop focusing on these distractions. If we focus on the things that we all share, that we all care about, then we can really make some changes. But that has to happen. We have to be able to have those conversations. And if you look at polling, that's what people care about. They don't care about all these distractions. Like,
I'm not sure
don't get me
polling
wrong.
survived 2024, just so you know.
Right. Yeah.
I think that might have been the end of polling.
No, I agree. Polling is messed up, but it's a point from where you can start.
It is, but then there's people out there like me who, when a poll person asks me, I'm going to tell them the exact opposite of what I actually did because get out of my face.
Then it boils down to the common sense stuff.
Yeah.
You know, forget polls, forget all that stuff. What do you care about? Oh, guess what? Those are the same things I care about.
Again,
same
high
things
90th
Mike care about.
percentile.
Yeah. You know, so if we can get rid of the rhetoric, if we can, you know, bring the temperature down and get people to see each other as community members and neighbors, then we can make huge gains in this country. Because I'm of the opinion that we've always been awesome. There was no need to make us anything again.
Yeah.
This has always been an amazing country, you know, and we had the opportunity in the military to serve in some garden spots, if you will. We've seen awesome places and we've seen horrible places. And man, I take this place 9 times out of 10.
Every day of the week, twice on Sunday.
Yeah. You know, this is there are things that we have to fix, things that we have to improve for sure. Every place has that. There is no perfect. You know, and that goes back to my other point. Perfect is the enemy of good enough.
Yeah.
If you're always looking for perfect, you're never going to be happy. You know.
Where can people find you and support your campaign?
So www.croft4congress.com, and that's the number 4, not the word 4. You know, and so I've got an awesome team. We're still in our infancy.
You got time.
Yeah, we've got time. I've got some really good people in my corner, and there is a movement going on right now because, like you said, I think a lot of people feel that people on the left, elected people on the left and the right, they've stopped focusing on us. They're only focusing on pleasing party leadership, big business, lobbyists, and they're focused on their reelection. You know, and I have, maybe it's naive, but I have this vision that if you can focus on what people actually care about, I won't have to work on reelection. Because
In theory, yeah.
Because they're going to know, oh, well, I mean, for the last 2 years, everything we've talked about, everything we've brought up as concerns, he has addressed in D.C. He has taken our voice to D.C. And I saw this disgusting number the other day. If a member of Congress works 9 hours, okay, and right now they're working 0, but if they work 9 hours, it's something like 6 to 7 of those hours are focused on reelection.
Yep.
And that's ridiculous. So we're paying them ridiculous amounts of money so they can go and work on their reelection, so they can go fundraise. And again, I know it's probably going to be a logistical nightmare, but my plan is to have like a town hall every 45 days, 30 to 45 days in a different part of the district, so that people can hold my feet to the fire and say, hey, dude, you're missing the mark. Or, hey, we're really happy you did this. Please keep doing more of that. But so that people will always see what it is that I'm doing, what I'm working on. And so they, you know, see me enough to understand, hey, he actually cares. He's working on it. I don't care about getting rich. I was going to go be a teacher. I'm retired military. I went into the military, you know, nobody gets rich in the military.
Yeah.
So I don't care about the money. Service matters. And I think I can do really, really good things for the people in Washington's 5th District. Eastern Washington is taking a beating with tariffs and rural hospitals. It's something that needs to be fixed. And right now, the guy we have is just ignoring the people. He sends out, little updates, email updates, and they're so tone deaf. They're so, not in tune with what the people in Washington's 5th District are saying. And I'm sure
Do you know why that is? Because he isn't in tune.
Yeah. No.
Guys, again, knowing nothing about who this person is or who he is, it's a pretty good chance he's worried about his own stuff.
Yep. 100%. 100%. And I'm not saying that to say that he's a bad dude. I don't think he's a bad dude. I think he's tone deaf, and I think he cares more about his own stuff than he does about the people. And I don't think that there is, you should be more concerned with your own well-being. But if that's all you can focus on, then that's the wrong job. You shouldn't be in that job if you're going to be focused on yourself. You got to take care of you and yours and your family. But don't get into politics if you aren't going to be trying to take care of the people that elected you. And that's what I want to do. That's what I know I can do. I know I can do this job 10 times better than that guy. The campaign stuff, I'm still figuring that out. I'm still getting my feet under me.
You get time.
But croftforcongress.com. You can learn, I've got all my platform on there. We're looking to do a launch event on the 11th of November. More than welcome to come. It'll be in Spokane.
I will have to check my calendar.
No. I think it'd be cool. Have you out there.
I'm going to be in New York.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would come. I appreciate the offer.
Yeah, no worries.
I'll come out, though, for some other stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
It's flying distance for the helicopter.
Yeah, there you go. Let's set that up. Let's go on a...
Yeah.
I'll take you.
I have an ex-German anti-tank helicopter, an MBB BL-105.
Really?
Twin turbine.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Same helicopter that Red Bull uses for the acrobatics.
Yeah,
However,
I
have no desire to fly acrobatics. I am glad that the helicopter, for whatever reason, could tolerate that. If I were to find myself in what we'll call an unusual attitude, no desire whatsoever.
We'll take you out there and do some it's skids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take you out there and do some one skid landings, and
Yeah.
we'll pretend like it's the old days. I'll come in and I'll put one skid on the side of on the ridge.
Yep.
And you can exfil.
Okay.
And then yeah, we'll just make
I'm
it
in.
like
I feel like they all kind of fly the
make it
same.
like old school. Yeah,
I like it.
No,
like it.
I miss flying, but you
can always come back to it.
The attaché thing was fun. It was good.
Yeah. Plus, pilot's licenses are good for life.
Yeah.
Currency, not so much, but
No,
that's a fixable problem.
I'm a little outside my. I've gone pumpkin a long time ago.
Yeah, but that's those fixable problems.
Yeah, they
I
are.
took 10 years off in between fixed wing aviation. It was 8 years in between fixed wing and then picking up rotary. And it's still
You got more hours than I do. I saw you got like 3,000 plus hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of that's fixed wing, though.
Yeah. But like I said, you got that airman's sense.
God, it helps
that air
so
sense.
much.
And it's a huge difference.
Even honestly, like you were saying, I hear everything on the radio and I hear absolutely nothing at exactly the same time until it's like, oh, that's for me.
Yeah. We had five radios on the Pave Hawk.
That's unacceptable.
And when you are at that point where you're just the master of your craft.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that I was ever the master of my craft, but I was pretty dang good.
That's a lot of inputs.
5 radios, you can tell what's going on. But you know what was always the worst? It was usually the crow.
Yeah.
He would talk at just the wrong time, tell you where he wants you to land. You're like dude, I got nothing bad. I'm just giving them a hard time. But yeah, they would. It was usually when we'd fly with a guard unit.
Yeah.
And they'd start talking like just the worst time. You're in the middle of getting the update from the JTAC or whatever, and they're just like, hey, how far out are we?
So they probably couldn't hear the update though, right?
Well, because they would pull their pins.
Yeah.
We'd always be like, dude, push your pin in. And you need to pay attention so you don't step on any more calls.
And that's the issue. Is the key to talking on a radio is the first thing you do is you listen.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
And unless it's your buddy, and then right as they talk, you key your mic. I'm not giving anybody any ideas, but
Yeah.
and you go brrr, and they're like, who's
hot mic?
Yeah, and then you wait for them again and you go brrr, until they are absolutely emotionally twisted. Don't make sure you're not dying. And this is hypothetical. I'm not saying I've ever done this, but yeah, as long as it's not like real world and nobody's gonna die, if you can emotionally break somebody doing that, I'm gonna say it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you. I was curious if we ever overlapped in Afghanistan.
So I was there in.
My first deployment was the end of 05 or 06. Dang it, I can't remember.
I was there almost all of 2010.
I went there in 2010. I was in Iraq. That was my one fun trip to.
We probably didn't then
Iraq
because
and Africa.
My Afghanistan tours were over by 2005, and then took some time off, rehabbing from an injury, and then went back to Afghanistan in 2010. Yeah.
No. It was a good time. A lot of times where we had guys like you sitting in the back. I mean, there weren't good times.
You know what is interesting? So I have thousands of hours sitting in the back. And now that I recognize some of these noises, I'm like, you sons of bitches.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, why is it shuddering right now? I'm just in there like, beep, it's just chewing bubble gum. Like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't know what's going on. Now I'm thinking back. I'm like, you bastards.
Yeah.
So like the 160th guys, they're amazing. But we'll call some of the landings positive in nature. And now I realize whether they wanted to land or not, we were coming down.
We were landing. Yeah.
They were able to get off once the 12 of us that were in a Black Hawk that should have never been in there. They're just like, wee! They're like 1,500 feet a minute climb out.
Yeah.
But now I look back, I'm like, you dicks.
Like, that was the low rotor horn.
Yeah, you guys, why was the collective in your armpit and we were still going down?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, now it's like, okay, I get it.
We gave this ODA team back a ride from TK one time, Tarrant Cout.
Yeah.
And this dude, he was just like, man, I've seen it all. There's nothing you guys can do, you know.
First off, never say that, even if you have seen it all.
We're like, okay.
Because that's in a fireball cannon, you know.
Yeah, that's how it ends in a fireball. Because now the pilot is thinking,
pilot goes, really?
I'm gonna get him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we came off of this mountain, you know, 5,000 foot of nothing in front of us, and we're like, all right, you know, this dude ended up, you know, after a couple of moments of 0G, he ended up face down in our gunner's lap, you know. And,
excellent.
And he's like, okay, I had not seen that.
Fair enough. All right, man. Thank you for making the drive out.
Thank you. Appreciate it.